What's going on, boys? We're live. It's episode 3 of a few guys talking about some other guys doing some stuff. I'm Jay Paglia. Got Ant with me. Got Spread Astaire with me. We'll be joined by Big Man later. Twatty Latte should be coming through if the connection gets right. What's going on, boys?
Not much. I know Ant's ready to talk about the Tiger Show on Netflix.
I know what I'm also ready to do is when this show's over, we all get together and figure out what the name for the show going forward is going to be.
Bro, there's no discussion. I told you this last time. It's the name.
Oh, God. Fucking kill me.
It's the name. Few guys talking about some other guys doing some stuff. That's it. That's the name.
That's so gay.
Well, no, you're so gay, and that's my name.
Well, speaking of gay, though, who knew the world's greatest tiger trainer was a raging homosexual? If you guys, all right, if anybody is watching, if you guys have not seen Tiger King on Netflix, well, first of all, Jay, are we going to listen to Rage Against the Machine the entire fucking time?
Hey, Jay, is this on what station is this on?
Netflix.
No, the chat, so I can read the chat, the video.
Oh, just it's on our talking about stuff YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Let me go to that one. I'm on the wrong YouTube channel.
Yeah,
So-
talking about stuff network is the name.
So Jay, have you seen all 7 episodes of Tiger King on Netflix yet?
Yeah, I saw them before you watched the first one.
Oh, you finished the whole thing?
Yeah.
Oh my God! All right, so
Have you?
yeah. Oh, I finished it. I finished it.
All right. Shout
I
out to
even-
D Money in the house who's in the chat already, and Joe Morowski. What's going on, boys?
So, can you explain to me, right? Because I didn't understand this one either, and my husband didn't understand it either. Was how the hell did this man keep getting attractive 19-year-old boys to marry him?
Well, I mean, let's set the stage. There's a 7-part docuseries on Netflix called Tiger King, like Murder, Madness, and Mayhem, I think it's called, something like that. It's a must-watch. Let's start there. It's a must-watch. It's about a gay fucking redneck tiger handler who...
Hold on, who always has a 6-shooter on his side?
Yeah, who always has a gun on his hip. He runs a tiger and lion park.
He has
with
a mullet.
with about 300 huge, gigantic cats, right? Well, I said redneck, right? That basically implies that he has a mullet, right? So, yeah. And he's gay. He's in a polygamist relationship where he was married to 2 guys that really weren't gay, but fucked them because they were meth heads. And
Hold
and-
on. The realization that his 2 husbands were not really gay, but only fucking him for drugs, didn't happen till like episode 5.
correct. Correct.
So that
And-
was that you just gave away a huge spoiler there.
My bad. And he may or may not have plotted to kill the leading human rights lady in Florida who she was like basically like a wildlife chick that was in favor of not putting big cats in cages, yet she runs her own big park that has gigantic cats in cages, which, like, that's something that's lost on a lot of people. The fucking hypocrisy on that chick is amazing. And she may or may not have killed her first husband. I'm going to go with may, but it's possible that she may not have. That
I think you're very diplomatic on that. Innocent until proven guilty. This is the United States.
Are you voting that she fed her first husband to Tiger? Is that your vote?
My vote is she killed her first husband.
Yeah, 100%.
Probably
her first husband.
Hold on.
To a lion.
Allegedly,
100% fed her first husband to a tiger.
Allegedly,
100%.
Yes. Now, because you and I are going to go a different route here than the star of the show, Joe Exotic, because Joe Exotic is the gay tiger guy in the polygamous relationship, right? Her and Joe Exotic had this running feud going on. Like, she's trying to shut him down, and he hates her with a passion. And he's also a country singer. He makes music. He produces country albums. His songs weren't that bad. Like, his country singing voice actually wasn't bad for.
I think you're being nice. I think you're being slightly nice. But okay.
I mean, it's country music. It's all bad, but for country, what's bad country versus good country? I don't fucking know. It's all terrible to me, right? So,
Trotty Latte checks in. Can you hear us, bro? Trotty, can you hear us? Oh man, this sucks that Twatty's having a connection problem.
He needs to just put in some earphones.
Yeah, I think that might be the issue.
Yeah. I mean,
Twatty, if you're listening, bro, put in some headphones. Maybe that's why you can't hear us.
So, where was I at? Oh, yeah. They have this running feud, right? And he makes a music video where he hires a lookalike of her. And the song is "You Killed Your Husband and Fed Him to a Tiger." and the lookalike in the music video, the lookalike is feeding meat to the tiger of like dead, dead human, and he's just like, wow. So one of the great things about this docuseries was the fact that he had, and this is real.
I can't believe you haven't watched this yet, bro.
I know. I've been playing too much poker.
Oh no! Wait. All right. So between their feud, right? At what point do we want to start talking about the dude from South Carolina who has his own tiger sanctuary that knows both of them?
Yeah.
And
he's a polygamist too. He's married to like 4 chicks.
Yes.
Everybody's fucking everybody on this show.
Yeah. So can you explain to me, like, all right, so you got the lady in Florida with her tiger sanctuary who allegedly 100% killed her first husband.
Yep, allegedly 100%. Yep.
You got the dude in Oklahoma who's married to 2 19-year-olds who he feeds meth to.
Yep.
19-year-old boys.
One of his husbands that isn't gay, that he fucks because he's addicted to meth, accidentally shoots himself in the face in front of a coworker. Like, you can't make the shit up that I'm talking about right now, okay? Now, he may have been, like, so depressed where he might have done it on purpose. We're not sure. We'll never know. We can't ask him. But the fact remains that in the office of the Tiger Park, where he fucks a 60-year-old gay guy for meth, even though he may or may not be gay, he shoots himself in the face. The face. Oh.
Hold on.
And
hold on, Jay.
And Joe Exotic also ran for president and governor.
Greg.
Yeah.
Greg, I let the cat out of the bag.
Yeah.
The kid's dead.
Oh, I'm not worried about spoilers.
He's done.
If I was like in the middle watching, and I warned you guys, but I hadn't even started it yet. So
and you see the kid kill him. You don't see him kill himself live on camera because he just so happened to be under the camera in the office, but they play the video and you see people's reactions to him shooting himself in the face. And the person that saw it was Joe Exotic's campaign manager / secretary when he ran for president of these very United States of America. So there's a lot going on in this show.
All right. So now that we went through that, right? So his feud with this lady gets out of control. It gets so out of control that he although let's backtrack up a little bit. His feud involves him renaming his park the exact same name and exact same logo as her park, but he throws entertainment under it. So the name of her park is Big Cat Rescue. He renames his park Big Cat Rescue Entertainment.
Correct.
And copies her logo because he's stupid and doesn't understand copyright laws. So this is very important, Greg. This is very important. I almost like totally jumped ahead here because this is like a super important part of the story. So because he's stupid and doesn't understand copyright laws, he opened up the door for her to sue the fucking piss out of him, which she did. Now, you also got to, Jay and I forgot to mention that the husband, her first husband that may or may not have been murdered by her, we don't know.
Stupid
totally
rich.
killed him. Yeah, she totally killed him. Was stupid fucking rich. All right? So that means now that he is no longer with us, probably because she killed him, but we don't know. But he's no longer with us. She's now stupid fucking rich. So when you're broke as shit in Oklahoma, barely making by running this tiger park, and you open yourself up to getting your ass sued by a chick who's stupid fucking rich, what do you think is going to happen during these legal proceedings? Who do you think has a better lawyer? Who do you think's going to win all the judgments and the depositions here? One guess, Greg. Go.
The government?
She gets a judgment for over $1 million.
Really?
From him. She fucking takes him to the cleaners.
Twatty, can you hear us?
Yes.
My God.
Oh, hey,
Twatty
Matt.
Latte back in the house.
I literally had to go to every corner of this house to find a fucking place to get a connection.
You sound even more beautiful than you look, Matt. Now,
Thank
can you
sir.
tell me, though?
I miss you, man.
I miss you too, buddy. Now, can
What's
you
up,
tell
Spread?
me?
What's up, Twatty? Nice to finally talk to you.
All right. We all know each other. Okay, Matt, can you tell me? No, we're not interrupting the story. Can you tell me, Matt, if you are broke as shit and you piss off somebody who's rich as shit and they sue the fucking shit out of you, are you going to win that lawsuit?
Well, no. I mean,
No.
Not normally, unless the evidence is so overwhelming that you just can't get around it. But no.
Well, yeah. So long story short, the lady from Big Cat Rescue in Florida, who's super rich, completely financially decimates Joe Exotic in Oklahoma. Completely destroys him financially. She fucking takes the lawsuit out forever. She has liens against his parents' belongings, his parents' house, his possessions. He's court ordered to basically give her everything he has. He's like, well, I don't have $1 million. They're like, well, you have assets. Oh, all your assets are in your parents' name? Well, your parents have assets then. So he's fucked.
She takes his parents' house. Like, a lot of times where like somebody sues somebody for $1 million, but it's basically complete bullshit because they're never going to collect that $1 million, right? Like this chick was so hell-bent on fucking ruining this guy's life that she took it fucking all. And Ant, we haven't even talked
That's
about
what opened up.
We haven't even talked about Jeff Rowe or
That's
Lowe.
what Jay, come on. What brought Jeff into the picture?
Joe Exotic needed money because he was getting bled fucking dry.
Exactly. Come on, Jay. It's a cycle. It's a story to talk about here.
Right.
You can't talk about Jeff until you talk about how Joe got fucked in the lawsuit.
Right.
So, Jay, Jeff Rowe, take it.
So this fucking guy, Jeff Lowe, is he like presents himself as if he has a shit ton of fucking money, right?
I'll pause right now, though. I don't want to interrupt you, but I do want to pause right now. Anybody who's intelligent can look at Jeff Rowe and tell he's full of shit. All right? He's overly flashy. If Jay or I looked at Jeff Rowe and he said, hey, I got a deal for you, we would say, hey, we got some nuts to suck because you're full of shit. All right.
Right. So Jeff Lowe, I forget how they meet, Ant. I forget how. Do you remember how they meet?
The James guy. They met through that James guy who.
The other park,
really important
the other park owner.
No, they met through. All right, the guy who winds up being important at the end because he's the informant for everything. He's the dude who bought some. He bought some tigers or shit off of Joe a couple of times.
Okay,
and he had business dealings with Jeff, so he introduced them.
So these two guys get introduced. You got the gay polygamist that does a shit ton of meth and is getting bled dry in the lawsuit, right? And then you got this guy Jeff Lowe. So they meet. This guy Jeff Lowe presents himself as he is stupid rich. He even goes so far as to rent a mansion in Las Vegas, but Joe Exotic has no idea that it's a rented mansion. He thinks like the guy owns a mansion. He drives a Ferrari. The guy appears,
which he doesn't make payments on.
Right, which he doesn't make payments on. So the guy appears to be stupid rich, right?
He wears a Ferrari ball cap, guys.
Yeah.
He wears a Ferrari ball cap while driving a Ferrari. That's a red flag.
So he talks Joe. He says, I'm going to help you with your lawsuit. Okay. What do you owe the lawyers right now? 50 grand. Boom. Here's 50 grand. Right. He talks Joe Exotic into signing over the Big Cat Tiger Park that he owns. Right. So he signs it over to Joe Exotic. He takes it right from him. Joe Exotic decides that, he's still going to be the figurehead, and he thinks that he owns it in his head, but he doesn't, because he just basically signed his life away to fucking this guy, Jeff Lowe, who he has known for all of 3 weeks. Right? So, right or wrong?
That's about right.
Okay. So Jeff Lowe brings a guy with him. Now Jeff Lowe is a felon, okay? He's a felon. He brings a guy with him to run the maintenance of the park, who is also a felon, okay? So Joe Exotic starts telling these guys how much he hates this lady that's ruining his life. And he continually says on camera, I want this bitch dead. I want this bitch dead. I want this bitch dead. So on the dolo, he offers to pay the guy that Jeff Lowe brought to run the maintenance at the park. He offers to pay him $5,000 to kill this chick, Carol, who is suing him in the lawsuit. He gives him $3,000 of that money, right? And he was supposedly really going to do it. But the guy was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm not doing this. He actually went to Florida and was gonna do it, but he's like, "Fuck, I'm out. No way. I'm keeping this guy's $3,000, and that's it." Now, how it all gets tied together is the feds start watching Joe Exotic because while he was running for president, he was breaking campaign finance laws because he was paying for his campaign through taking money out of the Tiger Park, right?
He was also he also ran for governor after he ran for president. And his campaign for governor was actually a real thing. He ran in the Libertarian primary for governor of Oklahoma, and he got in 3rd out of 12. There was 12 people in that primary, and he placed 3rd. He got 18% of the vote in the 2016 primaries for the Libertarian, or was it 2018? No, it was 2016. Yeah. So he had a real campaign, and his campaign manager, the guy who his husband shot and killed himself in front of, was his campaign manager that he met at Walmart because he was the manager of the gun counter in the
ammo
department at the local Walmart, and he was such a gun nut. He was at the Walmart 5 times a week buying ammo. So he knew the manager. The manager of the local Walmart was his campaign manager.
Very long story short, the feds start watching him because he starts forging the guy Jeff's signatures on checks to pay for his campaign from the Tiger Park, which is a federal crime. It violates campaign finance laws. So the feds decide to not only go after Joe, they go after Jeff and the guy James. So while James and Jeff are trying to get out of it, they tell the feds, wait a minute, fuck this campaign finance law. This guy just paid somebody to kill somebody. Get him on that. And the feds are like, you know what? That's a good call, bro. So they basically arrest this poor fucking dude, okay? And he gets charged with attempted murder, and he'll be in jail for the rest of his life because he was fucking retarded and forged checks and violated a campaign finance law. And just because he tried to have this chick Carol murdered, they put him away in jail for life. He's done, finished.
That's only his story, though. Like, we only scratched the surface on this, man. Well, first of all, can someone please explain to me how the hell this mid-50s goofy-looking motherfucking gay guy keeps getting attractive 19-year-olds to blow him?
I can't answer that. Let's pause this story, okay? Because there are 2 people on the show right now that haven't even watched the fucking show. in Spread and Matt. So let's pause the story. That's the basic gist of it, right?
Well, what's the name of the show so I can watch it?
Tiger King.
It's on Netflix. It's a 7-episode docuseries called Tiger King.
And that's not, and we haven't even talked about the guy in his park in South Carolina with his harem of women. That's a whole other.
D-Money asked about the new Rams logo. I think it's fucking horrific. I haven't seen it. I think it's ugly as shit.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah. So Twatty, how have you been, bro?
I've been eating a lot. Yeah, I've been eating a lot in my quarantine state. So that's not particularly good.
Are you out of? Are you quarantined then?
Yeah, what I did though, best move I ever did. I went to Walmart last week and bought a basketball hoop. Basketball hoops. I've been out there kind of running around a little bit by myself, shooting, trying to get a little bit back into shape. But yeah,
other than that, every roll of toilet paper that you could from Walmart.
There's no toilet paper there.
I'm watching grown women fight on Facebook over videos over toilet paper, bro. I've never seen anything
Well,
like it in my life.
I mean, I have a shit ton of toilet paper, and I saw it for going for like $15 a roll on eBay. Like, I can make some money, a little side hustle here. I probably got 40 or 50 rolls.
Do you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stocked up myself.
But there was none at Walmart today. And there was no meat at Walmart today.
Wow.
Check
Shit's
the
crazy.
private chat, Matt, if you want to.
What have you guys been doing? You guys hanging in there? Everyone still have a job? Spreading it?
My job is considered essential services, so I will not. I will have a job all throughout this as long as I don't catch the coronavirus and die.
Well, I got laid off. Well, I shouldn't even say I got laid off. They're paying me to not work, which is what great people are that?
Wow.
They're
that's
like,
great.
we'll make it through. We'll do what we have to do, this and that. But at some point, if it's 6 months down the road and they're carrying all the payroll and shit, I can't imagine that that they're going to be able to keep me. But
You're lucky, man. Right
Yeah.
now. That's a really nice thing.
how awesome? What about you, Spread?
Oh, well, I bet sports, so no, I haven't been
okay.
working. I told Jay I've been trying to play some online poker to try and there's no way I'm going to make what I was making when we were doing the betting, but if I can at least, make a dent so I'm not just going purely out of my savings, I'll be good. So that's been the strategy so far.
Yeah,
Jay,
It's kind of nice though, because there's a ton of people playing, and I used to not be able to win after the bust, when it was basically only the good players left. But now with everybody jumping back on, I'm like, oh, cool, I can win again. Like, this is fun.
Jay, you still got the red route or no?
Yeah, but I lost about 30% of my sales for the month. So this month I basically had enough money to pay the 3 guys, and I paid it paid about 2/3 of my rent. So I had to pay 1/3 of my rent plus all my bills and child support and shit like that from my savings mostly. Luckily, I'm still at SBR, so this month will help me. But I made the best of that Cage Warriors event. Picked up $1,500 there, so that'll take care of most of my other bills. My bills are about $5,000 a month, really, when I break it all down, including my child support. So that's what I gotta basically make every month. But I'm okay, man. I thought about buying like $20,000 worth of Bitcoin because I think that it's gonna skyrocket soon. But I'm hanging in. I'm lucky that I'll get through this, but it would suck for it to eat up 1/3 of my savings in the meantime,
Yep.
Yeah. I think I'm fortunate. Like my husband's job, I mean, he's working from home, and I don't see him having a job where they would lay him off. And my job is considered essential services, so they're not going to shut us down. So I mean,
Well, good.
yeah.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah, I've always been semi-secretive about my actual job. Like, other than people know I drive a truck and a route, I kind of don't actually talk about who I work for or what I do, and I want to keep it that way. But I mean, Jay and Greg know what I do, so that's an essential service. So I will continue to have a job.
That's good. So all 4 of us are at least all right. That's good.
Yeah.
We talked a lot about Bitcoin in the Discord, Jay. There's a lot of good guys in there. You should pop in. I guess those guys are kind of setting it like 3K.
I've been in the stock section of the Discord all the time.
It's up to 6K now, though, isn't it? Like when
it's
I
up to like 64 the last time that I saw it, but it closed at 5,800 last night. I think that
does it ever close? Is it like a 24-hour?
Well, yeah, but I mean, like its lowest point last night was 5,800. But here's the thing, man. The stock market dropped almost 40% since February 20th.
Don't tell me that.
and they're talking about the unemployment rate might go to 30%. We're just at the beginning of the catastrophe that's going to be caused to this economy because of this fucking virus. So I think that it's going to go down before it continues to go back up, and that's when I'm going to get in. But I got to get in no matter what, man, before May, because once that halving happens in May, it's going to skyrocket these next 12 months. So I'm biding my time.
Jay, let me ask you a question. So I could be wrong about this, and you get and Ant Spread may know too. If we go to 30% unemployment, I mean, 30, probably 20% of the public is retired, right? 20% of the public is under 18. So that's actually 70% right there. So, I mean, really, basically, if we go to 30% unemployment, nobody's fucking working.
Well, my guess would be 30% of the 70%.
Okay, right. Okay, all right.
You know,
yeah,
I mean, Anthony made a point to say earlier in our chat that the Great Depression had 25% unemployment.
Yeah,
and they're talking that it's going to be at around there.
Well, here's what's crazy is it's not this time. It's not just the U.S. It's everywhere. Bangkok is actually the most traveled. I was watching a documentary, most traveled city in the world, and they're completely shut down. You know what I mean? So it's not just this time. It's the United States. It's Rio. It's Tokyo. It's
think
Seoul,
of this.
South.
How much tourism does the country of Italy bring in? Like how many people do you hear about? Like, oh, my Italian vacation. They visit the Vatican. They visit Rome. I mean, Italy. Like I've seen the fucking pictures. I see the videos. It's a gorgeous country. I mean, it produced fat guineas like Jay. I mean, other than that, it's a fantastic country. So, and it's shut down completely, and they've had like thousands and thousands of people have died in Italy. They're like the hardest hit country on the planet right now with this virus. And I think we're on the trajectory of Italy too. I don't want to sound doom and gloom, but I know Jay and I we try and avoid too many political. Well, Jay avoids too many political opinions, but I used to be on Jay's side on this. It was all fun and games. It was funny. He was entertaining. Did we think he was a moron? Yes. Did we agree with his politics? Not really. But it was nice to see the liberals melt down. It was just hilarious. But it's not funny anymore. It's not funny. The guy is a fucking moron. He's so goddamn inept. Like what I watched him today, guys. These words came out of the president of the United States' mouth. I don't understand why they just don't sanitize the masks. They're throwing them away. They should just use it. We have great liquids to sanitize the masks. You could save so much if they'd stop wasting them by throwing them away and sanitize them. That's the president of the United States, guys. We're in a fucking It's not funny anymore. 2 years ago, lock her up. Yeah, that was funny as shit. He pissed off the European Union, with his stuff. Oh, trade war with China. Yeah, it was okay, whatever. It's not funny anymore, though. This is serious shit. The guy's a fucking moron, and he's in charge, and it's just not funny anymore.
Well, Andy's going to be in charge for 4 more years.
Oh my God.
I'm betting that he is.
Oh, no doubt.
Did you? I take it you saw that video from Joe Biden today, also.
Well, no, I mean, Biden can't beat him. Bernie can't beat him. It's over. I mean, I'm going to vote for Bernie, but I mean, if he's there, or I'm going to vote for Biden, but Trump ain't losing to those two.
Trump ain't losing them. Yeah.
Well, how often does a wartime president, and technically this is a wartime president, how often does he get not reelected? I think every time they get reelected, don't they?
The last president to lose a reelection was George Bush's dad in 1992.
92, yeah.
Yeah, Clinton was a 2-term president. Obama was a 2-term president. George W. was a 2-term president. So we've had 3 2-term presidents in a row. So,
Anyway,
yeah, I don't know.
Are we not going to talk any sports?
Well, if there was sports to talk about, we could.
Well, we all
I
haven't
would love
talked in
to talk
forever.
about sports.
And I haven't talked about baseball, and I'm not going to bore everyone with baseball, but we can talk a little bit about it.
Well, what's your thoughts on they're talking about tentative start 4th of July weekend?
I mean, I haven't seen like what I mean, Rich has hit me up with that, and I respect Rich, but I mean, I haven't heard anything definitive yet on that.
I think that they don't have a season.
I agree with Jay there. I think the seasons because the baseball season is if you have a 3-month-long season or 2-month-long season, that just ruins the baseball season. Like what are you going to do? Start the season in August, have a 2-month season, and then the play. I mean, it's
Isn't it better than nothing now?
No, just
well, no way, guys. No, what
Okay,
they were
but
talking
you're a
about,
purist, right? But like for the most of us, it just okay, playoffs, like that's awesome. Like they're just going to tune in for the playoffs no matter what, right? They're not going to be like, oh, well, they only played 60 games. They're going to be
they
like,
can make it work. They can play 100. They can play 100 or 150. What they're going to have to do
they
then?
can't go that late though, because they couldn't have the World Series in December. It'd be too cold.
Yeah, they could. They could play it in the Astrodome, or they could play it in.
the Astronome's been blown up, so.
Well, you know what I'm saying. Minute Maid, asshole. But no, that's you. I mean, it takes a lot. Don't get me wrong. It takes a lot to make it work. But you could play in a dome. You could play all the way through January if your playoffs are going to be in a dome.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I could see a lot of purists getting mad if, like, the Yankees had the best record and they didn't have home field advantage because
obviously
cold to play.
Obviously, yeah. But we're living through times that we all have to fucking adjust. So
yeah, I mean the last time we've seen a pandemic that has had this kind of effect on the world was almost exactly 100 years ago, which ironically was called the Spanish flu, despite the fact that it started in Kansas. That shit killed like 60 million people. And the world only had 2 billion people back then. Now it's like 7.5 billion, something like that. I mean, I don't know. I just wanted to get it over with already. I want shit to get back to normal. I want my baseball back. Like we're supposed.
Well, what's funny to me is that we got to do social distancing, which is cool. I'm all down with that. And I went to Walmart today, and I'd never seen them more busy. Chick-fil-A today was a disaster. There was lines wrapped around Chick-fil-A out into the street, almost onto the highway.
It's like people inside the Chick-fil-A?
No. But what I'm saying is people are out, so we're practicing social distancing. And like for instance, Walmart was fucking crazy today, and Target's open too. But I don't know.
Around here, it's like that too, and I found out the little secret was instead of going to Walmart or the Hy-Vees, which are like the most popular grocery stores around here, like Hy-Vee, Baker's, Walmart, those are the big three that everybody goes to. I just went to the family fair, and even during a global pandemic, I'm like, oh, the family fair is still in stock.
Yeah.
And they only have 2 people in line. But that lasted literally all of like 4 days. 4 days of the pandemic, all of a sudden, once like Walmart, Hy-Vee, and Baker's all ran out of food, bang! Then all of a sudden, all the family fairs ran out of food too. And so I was like thinking, like, I had my own little slice of heaven. I was going to the family fair every other day to get my stuff, and then I walked to the family fair yesterday, and they were torpedoed. Like everything was out, and I'm like, what the fuck happened? Oh, people finally figured out the family fair still had stuff, and then they just took it all. And so I'm like, shit, even family fair got wiped out. I've never seen family fair not have full shelves because no one shops it.
Right.
Like, they were completely torn.
Hey, Spread. So NBA is done, right? That's it.
No, I'm pretty sure because they're so close to the playoffs, and that's their moneymaker, right? I mean, the playoffs do 5 to 10 times what the regular season ratings are. I mean, the whole
Yeah,
NBA
I
season
agree.
in the playoffs. They'll bring it back up and they'll run August, September if they need to, and just go straight into the playoffs or 2 weeks to get ready. I mean, I think that's why I think the baseball is going to have a shot too. I mean, basically, any day that you're capable of playing that you're not, you're just throwing away money. You know, even if it offends purists or, you know, like NBA for sure is going, and baseball I think is a little different because of kind of the old school mentality of it. But regardless, I think that I think NBA is going to play for sure.
Good. That's good to hear. I'm so disappointed about the college basketball. And then, Ann, you had Creighton. Oh, your favorite team. Creighton was so fucking good.
So
They were going to probably be on the 2 line, if I had to guess, 2 or 3 line. What a great team they had this year. And
I was at the game when they won the title, the Big East, the regular season title, which is basically the only Big East title that happened this year. I was at that game against Seton Hall when they closed it out on a 30-13 run in the last 10 minutes, and it was just so it was just so disappointing for people around here because there's just so much support for that team in the Omaha area. They, like, a lot of people aren't aware of this, but they are in the top 10 in attendance every single year in college basketball. Like, when people are like, well, who leads college basketball in attendance? You know, they'll go, oh, Kentucky, of course, Syracuse, of course. But yeah, Creighton's right there. 18,000 people a game. They got so much passion in this city for that team. We were all excited. It was everybody was excited. They're going to be a 2 seed. They were going to have a great opportunity to make a really big run in the tournament. And then this happened. It's that's probably like the most crushing thing is that the best opportunity we've seen our team have, and it gets taken away because of a fucking disease.
what's up, Jeff?
How are you? How are you?
We're bummed. I mean, we started off on a high note because we got to talk for about 25 minutes about the greatest show of all time.
Yeah, and then we had to hear about you whining about Creighton for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it happens. We're whining about the sports we're missing, buddy.
Yeah, I hear you.
Jay, do you want to talk a little baseball or no?
Do you, bro? Talk about whatever you guys want. This is called a few guys talking about some other guys doing some stuff. So talk about whatever the fuck you want.
You really got that quick now. You can really bust it out.
I do. I got it down.
I had to read it like 4 times. I'm like, does this sentence make sense? I couldn't fucking understand what it was. But anyway, I don't want to bore anybody, but I know Jeff bets baseball and Ant bets baseball.
No, I bet it too. I just I don't cap it as hardcore. My girl does a model, and I basically just use her plays. So
nice.
I follow it, but I pretty much I get a text in the morning this year, because I'm going to do the show, I'm going to get access to it.
Hold on. Wait a minute. So, Greg, your girlfriend models baseball?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
I mean,
she's mailing me cookies, bro. She asked for my address today to mail me some cookies. How about that?
Damn, if I could meet a girl that modeled baseball, that might turn me. No, it won't. But
it might.
You'd still be gay, bro.
Yeah, I was about to say that. No, never mind. But that's pretty dope, dude. No, so I mean, I don't actually understand why Matt would want to talk about baseball because he's a Pirates fan. So he's probably actually kind of happy. Like, you probably should be happy that this happened because you get spared watching the Pirates lose like 110 games this year.
Hey, I bet on them to lose more than I bet on them to win. So
I would too if I was a Pirates. They're terrible. They were going to be so bad. They were going to be so bad.
I mean, I'm a Pirate fan, but I mean, I bet every day. So at least half the time I'm betting against them,
Yeah,
do you guys think that the Astros fervor will die down now? Whereas, if not, there would have been a lot of attention going on them. And by the time it comes back, it's going to be kind of old news compared to everything we've been through.
Well, I think after the season started, it would have been old news because people would have realized that they're not as good as they were. And I'm not talking about because they're not cheating anymore. I'm talking about because they had they lost all their starting pitching depth. I mean, they were able to replace the loss of Charlie Morton with Garrett Cole, which was an upgrade. but then they immediately lose Garrett Cole, and it's like, all right, after Verlander and there's that other guy, Greinke.
Greinke.
Like after
And
Verlander and Greinke, who the fuck is on that starting rotation that you can really trust?
I think you have to realize. I mean, McCullers is coming off an injury. I think he's a pretty solid pitcher. I liked what I saw out of Valdez, the kid that they brought up. I want to say at the early part of last year. I agree, though. I don't know if they're a team that I would think are going to win the World Series, but I think they should be able to win that division. I mean, that division.
Yeah, they should be able to win the division, but guys like McCullers and Valdez, well, not like dog shit. But in
the AL, they're top 3. I mean, top 2 probably. I mean, outside of the Yankees, there's good. Tampa's interesting, Cleveland's interesting. Yeah, kind of like Minnesota, but they always kind of screw around in the playoffs. The problem is the AL sucks. Outside of 2 or 3 teams.
Yeah, you could just tell by a lot of the win projections for the season. You had like 3 teams in the AL who were projected to win, 95 to 100 games, and like the Twins, the Yankees, and the Astros, and then all the worst teams in the league, not named the Pirates. Well, let's be honest, the Pirates and the Marlins were going to be terrible. But you had the Royals, the Tigers, the Blue Jays, the freaking Orioles, the Mariners, the Rangers. You got so many bad teams in the AL. So yeah. Honestly, I also think that's why I don't think some of those teams in the AL, like the big teams, like the Twins and whatnot, are as good as what their records were last year. Just because it gets so inflated by the fact that there's just so many shit teams in that league. Like the Twins won 102 games last year. Yeah, the Twins were a really good team, but tell me another season where that Twins team wins 102 games. That was like a 95 win team. That their win total got inflated, and it showed when they got completely dick stomped by the Yankees in the playoffs.
Yeah, I like the Twins again. Obviously not 102 wins, but they brought in Donaldson, who's going to just fucking mash there. But they did lose C.J. Cron, and C.J. Cron put up big numbers last year. I think he was 30, basically 30 and 100. So what's Donaldson going to do? He's going to come in and probably do the same thing. So I do like the Twins. I'll tell you what.
They picked up some pitching, didn't they? Who was the pitcher they picked up? I don't got the notes in front of me, so I'm blanking, but I know they picked up a pitcher.
Not off the top of my head, anyway. I'll get back to you on that. But I'll tell you what. I'll tell you Boston. Wow. Talk about an over team.
They got Maeda, by the way.
Maeda, that's what it was. Thank you. Yeah, Kenta Maeda.
Boston is a team that you can immediately start taking overs from day one. They just lost Chris Sale. Their starting pitching is going to be Rodriguez, Eovaldi, Perez, Vasquez. These guys are fucking terrible. And they can still hit. They lost Mookie Betts, but they bring in Verdugo. And obviously they still got Bogarts and JD Martinez in the middle. So that's a team that you could start betting from day one, the overs.
Yeah, you should have stopped right there when you get, they lost Mookie Betts, because you just don't lose Mookie Betts. He's like the 3rd best hitter in baseball.
No, right, but they can still hit. So they're going to put up their runs, and then they're going to give up runs. Their rotation it may be one of the worst in baseball. And that's amazing for the Red Sox to have a terrible rotation like that.
Yeah, the Red Sox are a 500 team. If theoretically we had a baseball season this year, they'd be a 500 team.
Can I throw a team out? This is a dark horse. I'd really like this team. I bet them already. I think this team's really going to be good. The Diamondbacks.
Love them.
I'm high on this team. I think their starting rotation is really good. I think they have some guys there that are really, Luke
I'm
Weaver.
mad at you right now, Jeff.
I stole your thunder.
Well, I was really hoping you would give out a team that I was going to disagree with you on, so we could.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree on this one.
So we could. I wanted to be able to butt heads and create a little tension or whatever. But I'm I can't lie. I'm not going to fake butt heads. No, I agree. I actually the Diamondbacks were one of my win total overs. I thought they were going to be.
Oh,
pretty
no
good.
doubt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the Baumgartner acquisition is terrific. I mean, they've really lacked that, since Greinke left, they've really lacked that top front end starter. I think their bullpen is. I mean, I like Bradley as a closer. You bring in Guerra and you have Chafin there and several others. I think their lineup is young. It's got a nice mix of young and you got some veterans like Marte and Peralta and Calhoun. That's a pretty solid outfield as well. And that cavernous ballpark. I mean, it's
Yeah, I had them
there's-
slotted in. I had them slotted in an 85 to 89 window.
I think they're a
for
wild
wins.
card type of team.
Yeah, I thought they would. I thought they would compete for probably like the second wild card because I think the top wild cards coming out of the East. I think you're going to have 290 win. Well, you're not going to have 290 win teams, but I going into the season, before all this happened, I thought the NL East was going to have 290 win teams. Whether it was going to be the Nationals and the Mets, or the Mets and the Braves, or like the Braves and the Nationals, like one of those, two out of those three teams, I thought were going to eclipse.
Who's going to
90 wins.
finish with higher win total, Mets or Braves? What
Mets.
do you guys think?
Mets.
Really?
Yeah, I like them.
I was leaning Atlanta.
Let's go back to these D-backs if we could, real quick. I think BMOC is a little like in the pitching staff a little bit more than me, but I love their offense with Christian Walker and Escobar was their best hitter yet last year, and you still got Peralta, both Martes. Man, can they hit? But I'm not a huge fan of Weaver and Leak and Gallen.
Interesting. I'm surprised to hear that from you because I thought Luke Weaver had a really good year. I think Robbie Ray is a really solid second or third guy. I mean, they're young for sure. I mean, you're going to have to depend on Merrill Kelly, Zach Gallen, and Luke Weaver, but I think there's a lot of upside there. I think at least you have proven guys that have pitched in the major leagues. You have some rotations that they're constantly throwing out, kids that just brought up. I think it's better than most. I mean, we just talked about the Red Sox. I mean, you were totally right. I mean, just a hideous rotation.
But
I love their offense, and I'm not even shitting on their staff. It's not bad, but their offense is going to be incredible with the Martes and the Escobars and the Peraltas and the Walkers and Cole Calhoun. They picked up like Jeff said, they're going to be able to hit.
And they got some nice depth too. Real quick, I mean, Eduardo Escobar, Jake Lamb, Vogt. They got some depth as well.
Hey, Matt and Jeff, do you guys want to piss Jay off?
Yes. Talk about the Mets.
Let's talk about why we love the Mets so much this year.
I'll tell you why I love them.
I bet the Mets at 20-1 to win the World Series.
Lugo, Betances, and Diaz.
Yeah.
Their bullpen all of a sudden became really fucking good, which was their weak point last year.
Yeah, and they added, as you said, they added Betances. I think their bullpen, I mean, you have top flight. I mean, outside of Gesellman, who, I hope you don't have to go too much, but if they've got to get something out of Stroman and Porcello. Stroman, I've not been a huge fan of. I feel like he's not been as good as I think we all think he can be. Porcello, I mean, who the hell knows you're going to get out of him?
Porcello talks.
Yeah, Matt has to stay healthy, but the lineup is this lineup is nasty. I mean, Alonso and Conforto are terrific. I mean, we know what some of the Neil can do and Nimmo and I mean, I don't know what Cespedes' situation. Who knows if we ever see him again? But Marisnik and some of these other guys, I like them a lot. I agree with you, Anthony, on that. I'm high on them than the Phillies or the Nats.
Oh well, the Phillies are going to be mediocre. That's just kind of a given.
I like the Phillies a little bit more than most. Actually,
I think they're. I don't think they're going to suck.
Pitching stinks, but I think their lineup is a little underrated. They're
going to score some runs this year.
You're right.
I think the Phillies getting Zach Wheeler was definitely a nice addition.
But again, here's your issue with the Phillies. I mean, Aaron Nola went backwards last year. I mean, Jake Arrieta, he's pretty much went backwards. I mean, Vince Velasquez, I didn't even think he should be in the rotation at certain points last year. This rotation, there is a lot of question marks here.
Yeah.
And the Wheeler pickup is a good one, and I think their lineup is very good. I mean, you're pretty much stacked at every position, and you go out and get Didi, who is terrific player. He's going to hit a lot of home runs in that ballpark. Segura, I think he's one of the most underrated players in the entire league.
I think their lineup's good. I think their starting pitching. I think their bullpen suspect.
Bullpen is very suspect.
I think what's going to hurt them is like you kind of hit it there. Like once you get past Wheeler and Nola, because I do believe. I still remember Nola from 2018, and he wasn't bad last year. I mean, he set back a bit.
He just wasn't anywhere near what he was then.
Yeah, but Nola was like a number 2, number 3 Cy Young in Cy Young voting in 2018. So, to step back a little.
This lineup.
Wheeler's upside is so good. I'm such a huge fan of Zach Wheeler. I think he's got so much potential to be an elite starting pitcher in this league. And so, but once you get past that Nola Wheeler combo, you're right. There's really, I mean, that's only 2 out of 5 every 5 games. And Arrieta sucks. Velasquez,
they're going to have to score a lot of 8, 9, 10. They're going to have to win a lot of shootouts and their lineup can do it. I mean, they have hitters everywhere. I mean, don't forget they still have Andrew McCutchen. They have Bryce Harper. Obviously, they have Roman Quinn coming up. They have some guys that could really hit
Hoskins,
here.
Realmuto,
yeah. They're going to Kingery. They're going to score a lot of runs. They just have to find ways to get. I mean, if they can get something out of Arrieta or Eflin, then I think the changes. But I just didn't like what they did. It was kind of like how I felt about the Yankees last year. Last year, the Yankees made no play to get better in the rotation. Obviously this year they go out and get somebody, but last year they were just without that 3rd, 4th, and 5th starter that just eluded them. And they try to Band-Aid it with J Happ and guys like that, but
J Happ sucks.
I mean, I'm just really not liking a ton about that rotation for the Phillies.
I'm not liking the. Go ahead.
I heard you already shit on the Florida Marlins. Do you know how much better they fucking got this year?
I think they're starting
Aguilar. They got Aguilar. They got Jonathan VR and Corey Dickerson to put in that lineup. No.
I think it can't be much worse. I mean,
no, I don't think they'll be worse. I still think they're going to be terrible. Because
like what? 100 losses?
Oh yeah. Well, the problem too is with them is now I don't know what they're going to do this year if they start the season in July or whatnot. But if when I was making my win total bets on them under, you're also handicapping in the fact of the July sell-off, which is what you're going to have with the Marlins. They were going to find a way to move Caleb Smith. That one feller, his name's eluding me, the Puerto Rican guy who has some talent. Thank you. Yeah, that dude, he had some talent. I don't got my notes in front of me for baseball. I wasn't expecting to talk it. But, I mean,
by the way, he's from Venezuela, by the way.
Sorry. But anyways, what I'm saying, though, is they had some talent in their starting pitching rotation. But, they're going to trade Caleb Smith as soon as they find somebody willing to take him for an asking price. And their lineup is not a major league lineup.
Their lineup is bad.
I'm looking at their lineup, right?
I actually think their lineup is above average.
Well, that's because you're terrible at capping baseball.
I do.
Man.
Yeah, I don't know.
Again, you have Jonathan VR. You have Corey Dickerson. You have Jesus Aguilar.
You have some pieces, but
so you have 3 average hitters?
No, and you still bring back Brian Anderson, who was maybe their best player last year.
Yeah, when your argument is they got Jonathan VR, who's
he's a good player.
I mean,
I'm
not dissing him, but he's a guy. He's better than he's better than a AAA hitter.
He's not Miguel Rojas or someone like that, but he's he's not he's also not Mike Trout either. So
no, of course not.
I think I'm in the middle with you. I don't know if they lose 100 or 105 games or anything, but I think they overachieved last year. I mean, even though they were bad. I mean, the fact that guys like Brian Anderson, some of those guys had good years.
They're going to be they if we had a 162 game season, I would put money on them losing 100 games.
I mean, they're not the Orioles, but I don't.
Oh my God, no! Their catcher is Alfaro is a decent player. Miguel Rojas is a decent player. You bring back Anderson with Aguilar, Dickerson, and VR. You got 6 above average players there, or average to above average players there.
They got a decent amount of average. They don't have any good players though, outside of Caleb Smith.
Gary Cooper was their second best hitter last year. He's not going to make the lineup.
Yeah, they're a team that's got one really good player, and then a decent amount of average players, and then a decent amount of guys who should be in AAA. That's to me and when I say a good player, I've talked about Caleb Smith, obviously, and when I was capping them before the year, when you and I were planning on doing that baseball preseason breakdown video, which, by the way, guys, you can all thank the coronavirus for robbing you of a nice 2-hour-long team-by-team breakdown video that Matt and I were going to do. We were planning on doing it like last week before all this happened. But that was one of the contenders I was going to talk about with the Marlins. Was this in theory, could they get to 65 wins, 67 wins with this roster? Yes, but they're not going to have this roster for the full season.
That's a good point.
They're going to, if Jonathan VR is, like you mentioned, Jonathan VR, he doesn't suck. I'm not saying he sucks. He'll be good enough to get traded in July to the Yankees or the Twins or the Cubs or the Reds or whatever. He's not going to be on the fucking team in September or August. They're going to have a AAA team. They would have had a AAA team after July. And that's when you're doing season-long win total bets during a normal situation. That's stuff you got to factor in when you're looking at these really bad teams. It's you can look at the roster now, but that roster is not going to be the roster come July because they're going to sell the fucking piss out of anybody who's decent.
Here's just for the guys in the chat. Here's another one you could bet overs real quickly. That'll be the Brewers. The Brewers.
So bad.
I wrote down who their starting 5 is going to be: Woodruff, Hauser, Anderson, Lindblom, and Lauer. That's going to be their starting 5. Although their lineup now is terrible. All of a sudden, they lost Aguilar out of their lineup. They lost Thames out of their lineup, and they lost who? Moustakas out of their lineup.
I think they're a lot like the Angels. They have one really good player, and that's that.
Yeah, so the Angels are better now than they were.
Well, they are, but they're a lot like the Angels. They have poor pitching and very little outside of Yelich. I mean, I guess you could, he is interesting and Smoke and Kane, but Yelich is, the Mike Trout, and that's that.
Justin Smoke, oh God, that dude's never going to be interesting.
The Brewers are going to be, I think they're going to be like a 70-win team. They have terrible pitching. They have really bad hitting. They've lost a ton of people.
Yeah.
I mean, do you guys see them winning? You don't see them winning 80 games with that rotation, right?
They're not a 500 team. I think they're
the problem that you have with the Brewers is on paper, you go, this team probably sucks. But at the same time, on paper, the last 2 seasons, you're they're a 500 team, and they won the division one year and made the NLCS the other year. So it's they overachieve with shit. But I mean, I don't see them overachieving again this year.
How are they not their worst? I mean, I don't see.
Oh no, it's a 3-team race in the NL Central this year, and the Brewers aren't one of those 3 teams.
And the Pirates are one of those too.
I'm not trying to be obtuse here, but I mean, I might be crazy, but I think the Pirates overall team is better. I'd much rather have Joe Musgrove and Chris Archer over Josh Bell and some of these young guys over what they have.
I mean, you're going to run out.
I like Milwaukee better.
No,
It's
I like
not
the
by
Pirates
much.
there.
It's not by
Yeah, I
much.
mean, you're going to have Archer, you're going to have Musgrove, Trevor Williams, Brault, you're going to have Mitch Keller, who's a stud rookie. In the Pirates, while they have no power, zero power, they can hit for average. Last year, they hit 280 as a team, which is amazing in this day and age. You're going to bring back Bell. You're going to have Adam Frazier at second, who's a 280 hitter. Kevin Newman killed it at shortstop last year. Brian Reynolds killed it in left field last year. You're going to have a healthy Polanco back. I think they're going to actually hover around 500.
They're better overall than the Brewers.
Oh, they are. No doubt. I mean, the Brewers still have Hader in the pen. And obviously, we lost Vasquez because he likes to fuck little.
Yeah, but how many innings he gonna pitch? I mean, they're
right. He only pitched. Right. But I agree, BMSA. I think they're better than the Brewers. Yeah. My team, and everyone knows this team is not a surprise. But
what about Minnesota team total overs again, Twatty?
What is it?
No, I mean their team total, individual game team total.
Well, yeah.
over.
How much money did we make on that the first 3 weeks?
Yeah.
I mean, they're going to mash again. Of course, they're going to mash. But my team, obviously, and everyone loves this team, but I love them to another level with Cincinnati. They're unbelievable. Cincinnati's lineup.
Why did you have to say that? Because I already tweeted them out as my best value.
What do you guys like about Cincinnati?
What's
everything.
That,
well, what do you guys like about them? Like
everything. Their starting pitching and their lineup.
I mean, they have it all.
Basically,
they really do have it all. Cincinnati has it all.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to have Bauer, Sonny Gray in that line or that rotation. Their starting lineup. I mean, they can hit.
Alcides may not make the lineup. And he just took over in September last year. He was one of the best hitters in baseball. What do you have? 12 home runs in a fucking week? Or
now the problem with Cincinnati is I think there's enough volatility with them that they could be a 500 team and we'll all look like assholes for liking them, but they could also their ceiling is high. They're like to me they're kind of like the Mets, where it's like I think their floor is 500, but their ceiling is mid 90s. So like I'm not predicting the Reds to be a 95 win type team, but
I do.
I think I would not be shocked if the Reds were. I mean, obviously they're not going to have 95 wins in the shortened season.
I think you have a bit of an issue. You have a lot of names on this team, and you have a lot of names that, like Joey Votto, his career it's not nothing, but it's not getting any better. I mean, it's going down. Mike Moustakas, he's off a pretty poor year, I felt like, or maybe I'm wrong.
He had 30 and 90 last year.
Yeah, I guess he's something to be excited about. But I mean, Freddie Galvis, I saw enough of him in Philadelphia.
Castellanos.
Yeah, Castellanos. He's an interesting player. I mean, he's a guy that can play, obviously some different positions, and he can give you some leadoff stuff. But I don't know. I guess I don't like them as much. Like even like comparing them to the Mets, I think is a little bullish. But
no, what my comparison is like my floor for the Mets is like 81 wins, and my ceiling's about 95. That's where I have the Reds. I think their floor's 500, but I think their ceiling is mid 90s. I'm not predicting to make mid 90s, but I wouldn't be shocked.
I mean, from an overall pitching staff standpoint, they could have one of the better ones in baseball. I mean, their bullpen is disgusting. I mean, like every player in their bullpen is nasty. I mean, then you add in a Lucas Sims who's really young and up and coming. Iglesias just throws heat. I mean, he's like a young Chapman type almost.
You got Amir Garrett and Michael Lorenzen too.
Trope. Yeah. I'm in agreement with that. Their rotation is really interesting.
And one thing you got to think about when you're handicapping, division winners and season win totals and stuff going into the season is you got to remember the baseball schedule is the most imbalanced schedule in pro sport. I mean, you won over a third of your games are against your division. So if you're a pretty decent team, but
Yeah, you're going to play a lot of Pirates.
so they're going to play a lot of Pirates. They're going to play a lot of Brewers. And are the Cubs and the Cardinals going to be bad this year? No, the Cubs and the Cardinals are going to be above average. But the Cubs and the Cardinals are not, scary teams this year. The
Yeah,
Cubs and the Cardinals are like 85-ish style win teams. So those are series that the Reds could get 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3, 2 out of 3 a lot in. Because I think the Reds are about even, if not better than both.
And that's one of the advantages they have over a team like, the Mets, who are going to have to play the Braves, the Nationals, the Phillies. It's interesting. You mentioned the schedule. The schedule is going to be fascinating because unless they start, by June, I don't think there's any way they can have a full game season. It'll be interesting to see how they approach that. We've seen obviously shortened seasons. We've seen, obviously before the 60s, you saw, a lot less games. So, that's going to be interesting to understand. Donnie and I were talking about that a little bit earlier today. I'll be interested to see what they decide on, but they're going to need a good. I know they said 4 weeks. 4 weeks seems a little like too many. I think 2 weeks is a little bit better as far as an exhibition season. But one thing about the Reds, Matt, I don't know if you noticed this. This kid from I think he's from Japan, Shogo Akiyama, 5'1", 180. A fascinating player.
They say he's going to start. He's going to take Jesse Winker's spot.
Yeah, it's going to be 5 foot. I don't think
amazing.
I've never seen a kid in the major leagues 5 foot. I mean,
who's the shortest player you can think of?
That dwarf.
No, I know. Yeah, that Charlie Finley put out there, right? But in realistically,
I mean, you look at Altuve.
He's 5'6", right?
Now Altuve's 5'6". I mean, this guy's 6 inches shorter than Altuve.
Yeah,
I don't think I knew that.
I mean,
really?
Yogi Berra was 5'7". Phil Rizzuto was 5'6". I don't understand how this is possible. It can't be right.
And he's got pop, so that's strange. You're right.
There's no way this is true. I don't understand how this. That's like Simon, or maybe it says 6 foot, but on. Okay, now I'm seeing 6 foot. I'm just going to say.
Oh, okay. All right.
Go to
ESPN. I hadn't heard that either.
Go to ESPN.com. It says he's 5 foot 182, and I'm like,
yeah, well, that's crazy.
That's like Simon Birch. You ever see Simon Birch?
That's Danny DeVito, right?
Yeah, I was going to say, how is that possible? But
I think the Reds are better than the Cubs, though. So I think I got the Reds coming out.
Yeah, I mean, with the Reds, the Cubs, the Cardinals, I mean, I think it's a coin flip between.
I don't like the Cards at all.
Yeah, I don't. The problem I have with the Cards, in wanting to bet against them, isn't that I don't think that the other two teams are more talented. Because I always think the Cubs are more talented than the Cards, at least the last 4 or 5 years. I think the Reds are more talented than the Cards. The Cards are just one of those teams that somehow ragtag of bullshit manages to win 88 games and get a division. So it's just like,
but you lost Jose Martinez and you lost Marcell Ozuna.
Yeah, Ozuna's a big loss. Yeah, like I said, the reason why I give the Cardinals credit isn't necessarily because I think they're on paper that good. It's just they have such a history of somehow, some way, doing what the Cardinals do, and okay, they won 89 games, and I mean the Cardinals were fucking mediocre last year, and they made the goddamn NLCS. I mean, they got swept, rightfully so, because they weren't any fucking good, but they made the NLCS, and that team wasn't any good. So I don't know. It's the Cardinals, man. That's why. I mean, I can't diss the Cardinals too much going into the year, just because it's like, we're all going to look like assholes. We're going to oh, the Cardinals are fucking terrible. Look at this. Look at this roster of theirs. They're a 500 team, and then somehow they managed to be there at the end and win the division by 1 game, and
right,
and not even have a good record when they do it. It's like, like last year they won 88 games and won the division and whatever.
Do you guys remember how we made all that money on the Mariners for the first 3 weeks?
That was pretty dope.
Last year, you can fade them this year. I'm looking at their rotation.
So bad.
They're probably the second or third worst team. Gonzalez Kikuchi, Sheffield, Graveman, and Walker. That's going to be their starting 5 this year.
Who the fuck is Graveman and Sheffield?
Walker, Sheffield.
Graveman used to be on the A's, right?
Yeah, Kendall Graveman.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a bad team.
And then they traded everybody last year. So their best hitter coming back is going to be Mitch Haniger, right?
Where's Vogelbach? Is he still?
No, Vogelbach will be back, but they traded everybody. They traded Navarro. They traded Edwin Encarnacion. They traded.
As long as I can still see my favorite fat man lefty go up there and bash dingers and slowly trot around the bases,
I know you love him.
I love that guy. I love that guy.
It's just him and Haniger.
To me, Vogelbach is like watching Jay play baseball. I literally, like, when I watch Vogelbach at bat, that's how I imagine Jay looks at bat. If Jay wanted to play baseball, I just imagine Jay being that, like, really tall, bit overweight guy, doesn't play the field, but he just goes up there and says, "Yeah, I'll go ahead and bash some dingers."
Well, like Adam Dunn or something.
Adam
John
Dunn, yeah.
Brock is the old school one.
Matt Stairs.
Matt Stairs. Oh God, the professional hitter, Matt Stairs.
I'm not kidding. In the Phillies World Series, when they won the World Series, he hit a ball against the Dodgers in Game 5. Furthest I've ever seen a ball hit. I've never seen a ball hit harder than that.
You don't remember Canseco's in the Toronto?
I'll give you one better. Look, if you have a YouTube tab open, look it up on YouTube. Glenn Allen Hill's bomb for the Chicago Cubs.
Oh yeah,
he hit it across the street on top of the roof.
Yeah, that's impressive.
It is. And the funny thing is that was back in like that was back during like 1998 when Sosa and McGuire were having their thing. I was watching every Cubs game that season, because I was like, that was the year I was really getting into baseball. I was like 14, 15 years old. I was really getting into baseball, and I was really getting into the Cubs because the Cubs were on WGN. So that was the team that I could watch the most because WGN had all the Cubs games on. And I watched that Glenn Allen Hill bomb live. And I'm like, holy crap! The dude.
Well, that guy was on steroids. Jeez.
Oh, who cares?
He was huge.
Did you see the bomb I'm talking about, Matt? Right? Glenn
Allen Hill. Yeah.
That fucking bomb he hit across the fucking street on top of the roof. They think it went like 510 feet. It was so insane.
Is there any questions in the chat about some baseball? Or no?
I think there should be some questions in the chat about the goddamn Tiger King.
Yeah, there's no way that Glenn Allen Hill wasn't on steroids. No.
I'm not.
He was huge. I'm looking at my notes to see who the worst team I have is, and I think the worst team I have in baseball is going to be the Giants.
Orioles.
It's not the Tigers?
No, the Tigers actually picked up some bats. I'm drunk because I've been drinking my vodka and Gatorade. But the they picked up some bats, so I don't hate them. I mean, they're still going to lose about 100. I think the Giants I have is the worst team in baseball.
I mean, I don't disagree with you. Giants are going to be abysmal.
Seriously, guys, go look at that Matt Stairs home run and tell me it's not the hardest ball you've ever seen hit. I mean, he literally destroyed the ball against the Dodgers.
What should be the key word when I type in Matt Stairs home
Stairs run? Rips. Just type Matt Stairs home run versus Dodgers. It'll come.
It's like literally the first. I typed in Matt Stairs, and it's literally Matt Stairs home run versus Dodgers.
I mean, he destroyed that.
2008. Let's see.
Yeah, like fucking destroys it.
Hold on, they got to play a 30-second ad for me to watch a 20-second clip.
Like how that didn't go out of the actual ballpark, I have no idea.
Holy shit!
Yeah. Like he murdered that.
Yeah, he did. It didn't go out of the ballpark though.
Somehow it didn't. I mean, that thing was destroyed.
He that was a nice hit though. I could definitely admire that one. That was a beauty. Did you watch the Glenn Allen Hill one?
Yeah.
That was
Jim Thome, he used to hit 4 home runs.
That was absurd. Oh, what about the Galarraga one? He hit onto the upper deck in that old Marlins stadium. They think that one might have been the farthest one recorded, like 525 feet.
Yeah, I feel like up in the upper. Yeah, I feel like I remember that.
Wait, here's what I was looking for, Ant. They picked up Cameron Maben, C.J. Crone, and Jonathan Scope. So
The Tigers got Crone and Scope.
Yeah, so while they're still a bad team, you got Candelaria, you got Miguel Cabrera with those guys, Austin Romine. They did better in the offseason than a lot of people think. But they're still putting out probably Matt Boyd, Jordan Zimmerman, Yvonne Nova, Daniel Norris for their lineup. For their pitching.
Jordan Zimmerman might be the worst contract in baseball history.
What was it?
I mean, it was like $120 million
from the Tigers.
Are you saying George Zimmerman is the worst contract in history?
It's pretty bad.
Aren't the Yankees still paying
Pedroia?
That's
Bobby Bonilla. Mets are still paying Bobby Bonilla.
Yeah.
No, that's like $1 million a year. Who cares? I'm talking about like what the Yankees are playing.
Oh, you mean no, not Pedroia. You mean Johnny
Damon?
Oh,
no.
Ellsbury. You mean Ellsbury.
No, that kid.
Ellsbury.
Thank you. Oh my God, why did I mix up
$175 million, bro?
Yeah, I mean,
and he played half a season.
Biggest joke ever.
And he played half a season. Like he missed all of last year with plantar fasciitis. I mean, like he's just like missing every single year. He's never going to play for the Yankees.
Did you see Christian Yelich will get paid till he's 51?
Wow, really?
Yeah, I saw that in his contract.
I hate the reason why I hate that Bobby Bonilla contract though is because it pays out on my birthday every year. So every year on my birthday, I have to see headlines on ESPN. It's Bobby Bonilla Day.
Damn, that Galarraga.
He's got $1 million.
Big far, man. Holy shit.
Let me give one more for the chat
you just looked
here.
at Galarraga bomb?
Yeah, that's.
Oh yeah, he can mash. I wanted to give one more from when the season starts. Something you could bet on. Toronto overs. Definitely, they're going to run out Ryu, Anderson, Rayork, Schumacher, and Thornton is going to be their starting five, and they can hit. Gurriel, Biggio, obviously Vlad Jr. and Bichette. So that's going to be a team you could bet on early for overs. Make a little bit of money.
Lineup.
What's that?
A lot of Suns in that lineup.
I'll tell you another team I really like their lineup, and everyone's going to shit on me is KC. I love KC's lineup.
No, I'm not going to shit on you.
I mean, with a healthy Mondesi back, and then you got Whit Merrifield. You still have the Boppers, and who did they just bring in? A couple Boppers.
Oh, they had the guy that my Cubs traded to them for a fucking bag of beans.
Oh, Jorge Solar.
Yeah.
And they brought in another guy or two. They brought in from BMOC's team, Maikel Franco, who's going to hit in the 9-hole.
You know a team that's real bad? Like they could be the worst team in the league. The Mariners.
That's what we're. Yeah, they're terrible.
Yeah,
they're terrible.
What in the hell is this lineup?
Jeez. You got Haniger and you got Vogelbach, right? That's all you got.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah,
I think Haniger's gone, isn't he?
No, he's still there. He's their best player.
He's not on their depth chart.
He's he's there.
I swear he's not on their depth chart. Yeah, he just had surgery. It's not unclear of how long he'll be out.
Wow. If they don't have Haniger, I mean, that team, that would be the worst team in baseball.
Listen to this lineup.
That's what I've been saying.
Tom Murphy, Evan White, Shed Long, Seager, J.P. Crawford, Jake Fraley, Malik Smith, Kyle Lewis, and Vogelbach.
How about that?
And that is a joke.
That's the worst. That may be the worst lineup I've ever seen.
Like Seager and D. Gordon are the only noticeable names that have had any sort of and their rotation. Listen to this rotation: Marco Gonzalez, Kikuchi, Taijuan Walker. I mean, Justice Sheffield's interesting, and then Kendall Graveman. I mean, Jesus Christ,
that's got to be a 100-loss team.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really ugly.
So anyway, I got my baseball out of my. I've been wanting to talk baseball forever. I'm glad I got to talk about it.
So if you were to do odds, what would you say odds that they have a season are?
A season at all?
Minus 700.
So if you
Yeah, I'd
think
say
it's for
minus
sure they have them,
1,000.
and
Yeah.
then how many games do you think it'll be? Like 80 games?
No, 140. I'll say.
I mean, it's
You
so
think they're going to go
depends.
till December?
I mean, they've. If you read some of the stuff, they've floated the idea, and you got to realize. I live in Pennsylvania. Matt, you live in Pittsburgh, don't you?
Yeah.
So, like, last 2 or 3 years, the winters are not bad at all. I mean, it has snowed one time here, I don't think, this year. I mean, I think it's
Yeah,
conceivable
I mean,
to
I
think
guess
that.
that's true. I mean, it'd be fine out here, that's for sure. It barely even rains anymore.
I mean, I think they'd have to start by June 1st, but, I think.
Well, BMOC, didn't you hear? I was reading or I heard that what they'll do is they'll just play it in a dome
Yeah, I mean, that's.
for the last month or whatever.
Yeah, it's. I mean, you might have. What's going to be interesting is you're going to have. I think you're going to have a lot more doubleheaders. You're going to have. Do you have the All-Star game? When's the trade deadline? Is it still the same? Yeah, it's.
I mean, do you really think they'll be able to start by June 1st? I'm thinking it's
Who
gonna be
knows?
July
I mean, it's
4th by the
it's
earliest.
March 23rd. I mean,
Yeah, I guess
I don't know
that's
if you
true.
guys. I don't know
This
if you
week
guys,
it just seems so slow.
Jeff, do you know that the NBA season to start on June 1 is minus a nickel, that it won't start
Wow.
online
I
right now?
think
Wow.
the NBA has more problems because you've actually had people that have tested positive. The season started. I mean, if you listen to Trump talk, and what I think the country's leading
I
towards,
prefer not to.
I think in the next 2-3 weeks, there's going to be something implemented where if you're over the age of 50, you can quarantine if you want, but the rest of the country's going back to normal because you can't allow the economy to continue the way it is. You can't do this for 4, 5, 6 months. I mean, there won't be a fucking economy if you keep doing this.
They're talking about 30% unemployment.
That can't happen. You've got to start the economy up. And
So-
at the end of the day, you cannot stop this country over this. You just can't. You don't stop the country over. And I know it's worse than the flu. I'm not saying it's not. But the truth of the matter is under 1% of millennials or younger die. So I think.
So are we really do I really need to let people know that pretending we're not in a pandemic during a pandemic is not the wisest thing to do here?
I'm not saying we're not. I'm just.
Because here's what happens. All right, it sounds. Oh, don't let the economy go to shit. We have to get back to normal. All right. Well, now everyone. All right, let's let everyone out of quarantine. Now everyone's got the fucking virus again. And then everyone's going back to quarantine and the economy tanks because now everyone's sick.
Okay.
And then what happens? How many say, okay, there's how many millions of people in this country, right? 330 million people. If it worst case scenario, 50% of those people get the virus, which they say could happen. If you don't quarantine, you're going to get that virus.
No, and I'm not saying you should open the economy up.
Once you overload the hospitals, the death rate skyrockets. Look what happened to Italy. Why is Italy losing
stop
800 people a day right now?
Listen, but again, this is what we have to understand. We continue to compare it to Italy, and that's fine. They've had a terrible disease. It's been horrible there. But we have to point out they're the second oldest country in the world. In the area where they have the worst part, it's some of the worst air pollution in the entire world. They're breathing bad air.
Young people die too. What you have to point out is they're all getting the virus. If everyone gets the virus, if 40% of the country gets the virus, our death percentage is going to go higher because you won't have ventilators. Once you run out of ventilators, when you can't breathe, you die.
There needs to be a thing and I've heard that this is in motion right now. Supposedly, and doctors have talked about this, there's a way to measure the antibodies in your body to see if you've had coronavirus. So whether you're asymptomatic or not, if you could somehow figure that out, you're not going to get coronavirus again. Those people could go and do whatever they want. There needs to be a way to test or figure out if you've had the disease. I think if you get to that point, then you're good.
I think the problem is if you don't lock everything down because you're worried about the economy, in the long run, you're going to have to lock things down longer.
I agree. I'm not saying that we should do it tomorrow. I'm saying in a month from now, I think you're going to be a whole different place than you are now.
If I may,
a month from now is going to be way worse than it is now because we haven't done shit. I mean, what did Matt just talk about? Yeah, they talk about social distancing and self-quarantine, but yet there's 500 people packed into the goddamn Walmart.
But that's like saying you're basically saying that because they choose to show you the one place. What about every landmark in this country is barren? There's New York City's completely shut down. I agree. Not the whole country is social distancing, but a large contingent of the 330 million people that live here are doing it. So
here's what's bad for what Ant's saying. If we ever had a president that would put us back to work, it's Trump, because Trump puts his hat on the economy.
That's what I'm saying.
That's his thing. His thing is the economy. He brought it up. It's all due to him. He's the hero for the economy, and the economy's getting killed. So he's the one that's going to be the one that's like, let's get this economy back up.
Sure. I agree 100%. And that's where he's already floating the idea. If you listen to his stuff, he
wants everyone back to work.
He hates this thing. He still to this day, if you ask him in a back room something, he'll tell you the thing's all bullshit. I guarantee it.
Probably.
He says what he needs to say because he knows he can't keep talking the same way he did. Last week he said it'd be July. Now he's talking about, the end of 15 days. We'll figure it out. I think we got to understand what it is and, what you're going to have to do.
I think what we got to do is 25th Amendment the son of a bitch as soon as possible, because we literally have the worst possible leader in the country right now leading us through a pandemic.
And I agree. For everyone's in the chat, who loves Trump, I don't mean to piss you off, but so what is like Biden better right now? Is Bernie better right now? Who's
still getting reelected?
Is Pence better right now?
I'll tell you right now. I would rather, like, the whole thing when people are like, "Oh, you got to impeach Trump," I'm like, why? So we get Pence? I would take Mike Pence over Donald Trump right now.
Yeah, because at least he listens.
I agree.
Yeah. Mike Pence would not be up front right now talking to the American people going, why don't doctors just sterilize their mess? I don't know why. I'm smarter than the doctors. I'm smarter than the scientists. Ignore the doctors and the scientists. Who would I say?
I don't think anyone, like, when he says stuff like that, I don't think anyone, like most of the time when Trump talks, none of us really listen. We just wait for it to be over, and the actual people that know what they're talking about.
Jeff,
listen, I said this last night, Anthony.
Jeff, you live on the East Coast of a liberal city. I live in Trump country.
Oh, I know.
And what you said, like, I'm not saying you're wrong. I just think you're naive because you don't see it where you're at. But trust me, this country, especially the middle country, is full of people who listen to that fucking moron.
Listen, I said it last night, and I don't know how this would happen, but I guarantee if Andrew Cuomo threw his name in right now, he'd be the most qualified individual for the Democratic Party by a wide margin. And tell me he isn't.
I like the two guys that are about to drop out, or the guy and the girl. I loved Warren and I loved Bernie. Personally.
They're out now. And does anyone really want Joe Biden? If I'm Cuomo, I say, look, I don't
want Joe Biden.
Cuomo could come in right now and beat Biden. That's how Yes. Cuomo has done everything he's needed to do to run a state. And I know that's not the country, but he's the president right now to me. What he says, I want to listen to. I have interest in. When he talks, I shut the fuck up and listen. He's been unbelievable doing this. I think.
Yeah, well, Jeff and I see it every day because of the press conferences.
Everybody does. They played on
hold.
CNN for God's sakes. He is completely.
Yeah, that's true. They did.
He has completely been the quasi president through this, in my opinion. And I think if you watch him, you can see it. He's assuring, he's uplifting. He tells you like it is. He doesn't sugarcoat shit, and he offers ideas to fix it.
You know what I think? I think everybody should bet Donald Trump at plus 110 to win the presidency because
I took the field 65-1 because I'm thinking Cuomo is going to find his way in this thing.
No, I think Trump he's the guy who's been there with us through this crisis, and people will vote that way.
And you know what they're going to do, Matt? You know what they're going to do? All the 5 people in here, we're smart people. Most people, listen, they're smart people too. They're not gullible idiots that believe the sky's red tomorrow. Most of America are all going to remember that $1,200 check they got in the worst time. Donald Trump signed that check. And you know what's going to happen when this is all over? He's got fucking Joe Biden to beat. People just won't. That's the problem. And most dumb Americans who maybe don't necessarily like Trump, he's going to say, you know what I did? Remember? I fucking helped you when you needed me. I was here. Nobody cares that he calls it the Chinese virus in July. They're going to remember that 2,400 that him and his wife got from Donald Trump.
Nobody cares that he calls it the Chinese virus now.
Nobody's going to care about any of this shit. They're just going to remember. Americans are stupid. They think of what's going on now. And they're going to remember when I needed him, I lost my job. I got 2,400, me and my wife. Yeah. And that's how people think.
I agree 100% with that. You know? I think he's like that girlfriend that you have that you don't want to break up with because you know all of her shitty tendencies, or you could break up with her and find a new girl and have to realize all of her shitty tendencies.
Yeah.
I'll live with the girl I already know.
And that's what's brilliant about him. I know he's one of the dumbest people I've ever heard speak, but I think in the back end, I think he is somewhat brilliant because he's mind washed he's brainwashed these people into thinking that he's like he could kill someone on Fifth Avenue.
He said it.
And have the head in his hand, and his people would still support him.
He said that exact statement.
It's fascinating.
They would deny that he fucking did it.
And they would
he
be
said
okay
I
with
could
it.
shoot somebody in downtown New York or
All
whatever.
Right. Jeff,
I would still
Jeff
give up.
and Matt, and I'm only addressing Jeff and Matt because they're the only ones who've engaged in any conversation for the last hour. But do you guys remember?
Look at Jay's face.
Well, I mean, I'm just being
This
honest.
is what I've been dealing with, bro. For 14 months.
Well, I mean,
All right, we should probably move on.
What are you
everyone.
talking You talked about baseball.
What are we
No,
going
they- so do you guys remember when Donald Trump didn't like that New York Times reporter who had the palsy issue?
Yeah.
And Donald Trump was at the rally going, and that reporter, I said that. He goes, I
don't remember.
Yeah. I mentioned that to my uncle who has disabled children and disabled grandchildren. My uncle, my baby boomer Republican uncle. And I'm like, Donald Trump made fun of a guy with cerebral palsy going like this. And my uncle said, no, he didn't. I'm like, there's the video, Scott. It's right there. He's like, but he wasn't talking about that reporter. He was just shaking about something else. That's not what Trump did. Trump never mocked that reporter's handicap.
They're really delusional people. And listen, and that's the problem is, Matt, like you don't need to really push a lot of these moderate people over the edge. As I said, they know right now they don't have a lot of money. And they know in 2 weeks, it doesn't matter that Donald Trump didn't. Most Americans don't even know the difference between the Senate and the House. They don't know who actually votes on laws. They don't know anything. All they know is my president's Donald Trump, and I just got to check me and my wife for $2,400, and both my kids got $500 as well. So I basically made $4,500, and that's going to get me through until my job starts again. And then and he's been hanging on the fact that he's closed borders. The one thing he actually did do well, he's going to hang on this. Remember when I campaigned? Look, I got you all out of this shit. We're past this all, and that's why you need to vote for me. And they know they're not going to vote for Biden. Because Biden, and most people need to change their mind of, are black. And Biden
got that under wraps.
But he should. But a lot of black voters, you got to look at Biden. The crime bill was horrific, as Anthony's talked about. Joe Biden put a lot of those people in jail. I mean,
All right. So when Jay and I have talked politics, we were actually talking about vice presidential candidate odds the other day, and one of the reasons why. Oh yeah. So like one thing like a lot of people when maybe they don't understand this necessarily when you're looking at vice president versus the president. The vice president is almost always someone to balance out the president,
right,
to balance out the ticket, okay? Joe Biden was Barack Obama's token old racist white guy to appease the old 60-year-old baby boomer liberals into making it more palatable for them to vote for the black guy, because the vice presidential candidate is the dude who has a very shaky past in civil rights issues, the busing issues, the Social Security issues. I mean, Joe Biden was like the most conservative Democrat in Congress for 30 years. And he has one of the worst voting records on race issues for 30 years. But the fact that he was Barack Obama, and that's why he was Barack Obama's vice president. That was why he was picked to be Barack Obama's vice president. To basically go, hey guys, we know we got the black guy as the presidential nominee, but his vice president's kind of a racist.
I don't know if you're Biden, I don't know who you really.
Yeah, but I mean, it's fooled them. It's fooled the minority populations. They go, oh, because everyone loves Barack Obama. I still like Barack Obama. I voted for the guy twice. So they go, oh, that was Barack Obama's VP. He's our guy. But yet none of them. No, they totally pull the wool over everyone's eyes. It's like, no, he's horrible. He was Barack Obama's vice president because he was horrible. Obama needed someone horrible to appease the old white liberals.
Don't disagree.
Yeah, it's just like, so. I mean, and Barack. So it's like. It's baffling to me. You got a guy who authored the crime bill, who opposed busing, campaigned with segregationists, and he's getting the black vote.
Yeah,
it's like the Twilight Zone.
It's really bad. And I think if you're Trump, you have to make that. I mean, the problem is Trump has his own racial demons. So
Trump
I mean,
isn't any better either. The Central Park Five wanting them all to get executed.
Yeah, but if I'm Trump, I say, listen, this guy, he's the reason maybe you went to jail. He's the
you see, here's the thing. Trump is not Bernie Sanders. Bernie Sanders is too nice. Like I told Jay, the reason why someone really should have told Bernie Sanders why Ned Stark did not win the Game of Thrones. Because like Bernie Sanders was like Ned Stark. He was the pure, he was the guy riding in all the good intentions and then gets whacked because he didn't know how to play the game. Bernie Sanders is too fucking nice. Like Bernie Sanders is up there. He tried like really hard to like be a dick to Joe, but he couldn't do it. Trump's not nice. Trump will just come out and go, yeah, you're a liar. And, Trump will rake him over the coals on his voting record.
Those debates are going to be great.
Well, Trump's going to completely wreck him, and Biden's dementia is going to set in, and Biden's going to stumble over every word he says.
I mean, you got to admit, the other day
Trump's going to get like 300 electoral college votes.
When he goes, like yesterday, he goes, Romney, he's quarantined. Gee, that's too bad. That was funny. Like that was funny. And then the other day, he goes, the lady goes, why do you keep calling it the Chinese food? He goes, because it's from China. You gotta admit, he's funny when
so funny, bro.
The funniest thing I saw Trump do was when he was floating the idea of buying Greenland, and he literally tweeted out a photoshopped Trump Tower in Greenland, and he said, don't worry, Greenland, I promise I won't do this. And it was like, I'm like, all right, like as much as I think the guy's a moron, I don't like the guy. Like I don't agree with him or anything like that. He is funny. You're right. Like he's
really
legitimately like, Jay said. I mean, he's a shit show, but he's a lot of fun. Yeah.
Hey Jay,
Yeah.
what about because the chat's gonna kill us. What about UFC?
Everybody's so used to us talking sports and giving out bets. Like
there's none to give out.
This is a different kind of show.
No,
Like,
I know, but we can talk about UFC.
Oh yeah, no, I know. I just want everybody to like that's watching to realize that. But I'm always down to talk sports.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
you're the UFC guy. Number one, does it go down? And number two,
I think it goes down. I'm hoping it goes down for my fucking sanity. I'm hoping it goes
on
down.
time.
Yeah. The last that I
saw, but I don't think it does.
Is it going to be at the Indian reservation? Is it going to be fucking somewhere in Malaysia? Where is it going to happen?
I can't answer. I'm not sure. That like Cuomo may stop it from happening in New York, but the New York Athletic Commission signed off on it being at the Barclays Center at the end of April. But Cuomo might come in and say, "Fuck that noise. I don't care. I don't care what the New York Athletic Commission said." You know what I mean?
Jay. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, B.
No, I was just going to say something about like the states and stuff. You finish your comments.
Well, I had a question for Jay though, real quick.
I'm open.
Why would it be at Barclays? Why would they pay for the arena?
Because it's shut down. You can't do anything there.
What I'm saying is, why wouldn't you just put it in why wouldn't you put it in the fucking YMCA rather than pay for the Barclays?
Right, I understand what you're saying. Well, Dana White had said that he would like to have it at worst case scenario at their home campus in Vegas, where the Ultimate Fighter reality show takes place at their own.
I don't know why they don't just do it all there. Why not just do it all there?
Yeah, like at their little
because the Las Vegas Fight Commission said no.
Right.
Hold on. What was that, Greg? Let's let Greg talk because Greg doesn't talk much.
Oh, well, I already said it. The reason they don't do it there is because the commission jumped in and said no fights.
Yeah, I heard that.
So
that sucks. Like, I mean, I know I mentioned it in our chat earlier, Jay. Like, I think there's less than a 50% chance this fight goes down. But don't get me wrong. I 100% want this fight to go off because I need something. And I might not be obsessed with the UFC like you are. But over the year and a half or over the 14 months that you and I have been doing these shows, I've grown to really enjoy the UFC. And seeing as how it would be the first sporting event I've watched and been able to bet on in months, I desperately want this to happen.
I really like the card. I really like the card too. And I think that it's going to be a profitable one if it fucking happens. I think that April 18th, I think, is when it's scheduled for. And Nevada said that I think the cutoff is like they shut it down till the end of March, and then they're gonna see what's what and if they're gonna extend the ban. Worse, if they don't extend the ban, then we know it'll happen at that Apex Center on the UFC campus. Worst case scenario. Dana White said that, it's happening. I don't give a fuck where it has to happen, especially because it's probably going to be the fight of the year. So,
but Jay, how do you do that if you can't have more than 10 people in a room? Like, I mean, because you have the fighters, you have the you have the trainers, you have the announcers, you have the cameraman. Like,
well, Barclays, they would have enough rooms. At Barclays, each fighter could have their own room.
But you can still only have.
But you don't need
10 people in a building, is it?
Yeah, but if you have, look at horse racing. That's a prime example. Like, horse racing is still running, and there's all sorts of people around there. I think it's like there's got to be some sort of like by the time they have it, it might be a month. When is it supposed to be?
April 18th.
Yeah, that's a month from now. So,
Yeah.
I mean, those things might be. Let me ask you guys a question, because this kind of makes sense to what we're talking about. Now, there are 37 states in this country have 450 or less active coronavirus cases. 65% of the cases in this country are in 4 states.
My state.
Right. Your state, Washington
State.
New
New
York,
York.
and New Jersey.
Yeah.
Right. And they're all geographically near each other. Wouldn't it make sense?
Yeah.
Right. But wouldn't it make sense if you said, everybody else, do your thing, and you keep those hotspots, obviously hotspots. But if in a month they still have 65, 70% of the cases, how do you continue doing what you're doing?
I got nothing.
I don't know.
It's interesting because, like New York, I mean, out of the 43,000 cases, New York has 21,000.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
I think a lot of that's skewed too,
Wow.
just because of all this testing. How many tests are there? It's hard to have.
Well, but also
as many-
New York's the biggest port of entry from travelers from Europe, right? So that makes sense.
Plus, it's
California
the
makes
most
sense because it's the biggest
it's the
from
most-
Asia,
And it's the most dense area in the country.
right? If you're from Asia and you're flying into the United States, you're probably going to land in California. If you're from Europe, you'll probably land in New York. So
And New York and New Jersey are like density-wise, I mean, they're right on top of each other.
yeah, I can imagine New York would be 10 times worse. I mean, at least we're spread out here because California was mainly built after cars.
I
were
figure
built.
there are
So we have
20,000
here-
cases, like 16,000 are in New York, and the rest are in the rest of the state.
Yeah, I mean, it just makes sense with how jam-packed everyone is there, I mean, even the streets are smaller. I mean, everything is just...
Yeah.
It's how do you do social distancing when you have like 2 million people living on an island that's
can't.
yeah, like the island of Manhattan geographically is like 1/10 the size of the city of Omaha, but 2 million people live on that fucking island.
And how many of those people go from the Lower East Side to the Bronx or the Lower East Side to Long Island? They're all moving around. They live in Jersey or
Yeah,
whatever.
a lot of people that work in Manhattan can't afford to live there.
Yeah,
right? So they can get in.
So they're going to
Yeah.
Nutley, New Jersey, and they're taking it there.
Yeah, so you got 2 million people live on the island, and then you got all the people who are on the island every day because Manhattan's basically downtown New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's basically New York's downtown area. That's where all the skyscrapers are and all that shit, for my understanding. So it's like not only do you have all the people who live there, the population's tripled every day just because of all the people who go in there for work. I mean, of course a virus is going to spread. I mean,
But
you have
also,
far too many people living in a tiny little.
do any research on coronavirus. Almost exclusively around the world, it is in major metropolitan areas, like big cities. Other than Wuhan's a big city, and a lot of people know
11 million.
Yeah, but look at Madrid and even in that the place in Italy where they have it. There's 2 areas in Italy up in the north that have it. If you research
Milan, I mean, come on.
right, if you research that area, it is got one of the worst air qualities in the entire world. And I've also heard, I have to look more into this, and I'm not exactly sure but I've also heard they have one of the largest textile exporters in the world. They're one of the largest textile exporters. And almost exclusively, the plant is made up. They have direct flights that come in from Wuhan, direct flights. And most of the people that work in those textile factories are from China. And there's been some evidence that that's possibly why they've had such a bad outbreak there. Add in the fact that they're old and, over 65.
So
that's
Jay,
another thing that's
so
fascinating to
Jay,
me.
if it does go down, let's get to the meat and potatoes. What happens if it goes down?
Yeah, give us a pick, Jay, for God's sakes.
Come on.
I'll give you a pick. Rose Namajunas beats
What are you
Andrade.
holding out for?
What a
SVR.
No, Rose Namajunas beats Andrade.
What a
And as much as I love Tony
He
Ferguson,
goes down.
I just don't see how any fighter in that lightweight division could deal with the wrestling that could be Nurmagomedov handles. And it sucks because when's the last time you saw plus 225 on somebody like Tony Ferguson? It's actually sick. It's crazy. But I mean, I don't think he's going to be able to stop him, man. I really don't. I just don't see how he stops him. I do think that, listen, if Jessica Andrade doesn't drop Rose Namajunas on her head at the end of that second round, she was going to be down 2-0 because she got outclassed on the feet. So I'm going to trust that Rose keeps her distance.
Hold on. Was that fight that you and I got fucked because we bet on that one broad and she was winning and then she got dropped on the head?
Yeah.
I remember that fight. That's a rematch?
Yeah, that's a rematch. Yeah, and I'm taking Rose.
I haven't decided yet, but I may be on Andrade on that.
Why?
Twatty, watch that fight.
Why? Because she is the bigger girl.
2 rounds.
She is the bigger girl. I mean,
she's thicker, but she's like 5 inches shorter.
Oh my god! But she's a little fucking bowling ball.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't decided what I'm going to bet on that, and I love Rose, but I'm leaning right now towards Andrade. But shit could change.
I mean, she was so outclassed on the feet, it was crazy.
I haven't talked to you guys. What do you guys think about that Joanna fight last 3 weeks
What a
ago?
fight! I think it was
God.
the best women's MMA fight of all time.
I said, like, give Romero and fucking Alessandro Dana should have gave the purse to them. I mean, because it was the worst fight I ever seen. It was like the worst fight I'd ever seen and the best fight I ever seen back to back.
What Yoel Romero
That
did
Derek
in that
Lewis fight was worse.
It was technically, yeah. It was.
That was the
That
worst
Derek
fight ever.
Lewis Francis Ngannou fight
No.
might go down in history.
I saw that fight. But how much worse was the Yoel Israel fight? It was worse, or it was better, but not by much.
Not much, yeah. Yoel Romero. Dana White said, "I may never let Yoel Romero fight in the organization again after that fight."
That is the most talented guy to, like, I don't know. Did he win a title? I don't know. The most talented guy to never win a title.
No, he's 42 years
What
old.
is he doing?
That's his last shot at a middleweight championship ever in his life.
What was he doing?
I don't know what he was doing. I can't answer that, Twatty.
Unbelievable.
So it looks like Jay Inslee issued a stay-at-home order for the state of Washington.
That makes sense.
So I agree with you. I think Khabib, he's going to win that fight. Tony is nasty. Can we address the elephant in the room with Tony though? He's clearly not right.
He's got
He's
CTE.
not right.
He's got CTE.
At least he has CTE. At the best case scenario, he has CTE. Dude is not right.
Yeah, at the best case scenario, he's got CTE with a bipolar disorder.
Best case.
Best case. Yeah, I agree.
And worst case is tomorrow he fucking murders somebody.
Yeah, tomorrow he murders his wife. Yeah, I agree.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, what's the boxer's name? Edwin Valero. You remember him, Twatty?
I don't.
Okay. He was like a badass about 20 years ago, but yeah, he murdered his wife down in his home country.
Martin Riggs says Tony is on mescaline.
If Eric
that
still
could be
here,
true.
Eric
So-
would know.
So then I look at Dana and I'm like, so Dana, like, he talks about protection of the fighters and all this and all that. So I'm like, is it about the money, or are you trying to protect your fighters? Because clearly Tony should not be fighting. He's one of the craziest motherfuckers I've ever seen. He's not right. He should not be fighting. So he's running. So Dana's running him out there against Khabib to make all these millions at the risk of making him worse. He's not right. Yeah. Everybody knows he's not right. Everyone who follows MMA, anyone who covers MMA knows he's not right. But Dana's ignoring that. So it pisses me off.
Yeah, man.
I mean,
this is the 5th time they tried to make this fight. Can you imagine if a global pandemic is the reason why they don't fight?
I mean, now I can.
What's even funnier is what if the 5th time they're able to fight during a pandemic?
I know. That is
I know.
Of all the 5 times that they could fight,
yeah,
during a pandemic it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it might happen because they're not really allowed to train that crazy, right? I mean, they're not sparring with multiple people, so there's less chance of getting injured during camp.
Why not move it to just like I don't know, Wyoming,
Costa Rica?
Well, the Indian reservations is the latest I've heard because they're not governed or sanctioned by
state. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah.
Why not do it in Dagestan, where Nurmagomedov is from?
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
that'd be cool.
That would be crazy.
That would be cool.
That would be all. But the sad part is, I don't know if they would let the people in to watch the fight, which sucks.
Yeah, you can.
Why wouldn't they?
I think Russia's on lockdown too, aren't they?
Dagestan's his own country.
I
think it's like it's inside of it, but I think it's his own country.
I don't know. I would love that though, because the atmosphere, if they let people in the stadium, would be fucking nuts. There's 100 million people that like Khabib Nurmagomedov is their god.
Yeah, I might be wrong. I think Dagestan could be under Russian control, but
I think you're right. I think you're right on that. I mean, it's clearly in Russia, but I feel like, and I could be talking on my ass, but I feel like it's an independent state too. I think you're right about that. So does anybody think that Wilder can beat
no
Fury?
Yes,
I think he can. I don't think he will, but I think he can. You can't count that guy out.
I think he got a raw deal in the second fight.
Why?
What? What do you mean?
He just got hit in the wrong spot. I mean, it's just a bad.
In the second fight?
Yeah, the fight we just had.
Fair. No, that's fair.
Wilder looked like shit.
Hear me out.
Equilibrium.
Yeah, I think if you have had an ear injury, I think you'll know it fucks you up. I mean, you can't do anything. It completely takes everything out of you. I think he just got hit in the wrong spot, man. I really do. I mean, I thought he had won the first or the second round. I thought in the first fight he probably should have won. Fury got up.
I had Fury win in the first fight.
Second fight he lost. But I think, as Spread kind of just said, I think if he has time to prepare, I think it'd be a much different outcome. I just think he got really maimed in the first one, and I don't think he was ever able to.
But if you had to bet, let's say the odds were plus 100, so you'd take Wilder?
No, if they were plus 100, I would take Fury.
Okay, right. Okay, so you're saying that you lean Fury, but
yeah. But I don't think that's a question. I think Wilder can win, though.
Okay, right. I probably didn't ask the question right.
No, I get it. I think if you saw the second fight, if you're not a boxing guy, I think if you watch second fight, most people that aren't boxers would be like, he got fucking destroyed. He did, but I just think he got hit in the worst possible spot. I really do. I think, an ear is a really tough injury.
Yeah.
I mean, it really can fuck you up, I think, mentally, and it throbs, and it just is, as Spread said, his equilibrium was fucked.
I mean, Fury, you would think over these years, he's been boxing for fucking 20 years. He would have got better at boxing. I mean, he's a one-punch puncher, and you'd think over this time he would have improved. And Fury just is like picking that apart, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
He's not a good, yeah, you know what I mean? That he's a big puncher. Fury just picks him apart.
well, he's really eccentric the way he fights. I mean, he's so different, you know, his movements, and he's so watching Fury fight is fascinating because he's so odd.
Yeah, he is odd, and he's a lefty too, right?
Yep.
Twatty, I'll tell you that Khabib fight is a fucking J-size bet.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
Well, what's the line? Is it in the like 250s or what is it?
Yeah, you can get him at minus 250 right now.
Yeah, I feel you. I could see that. I'd
You-
probably
you
be
know
down
that-
for that.
You know that they finally lined the Amanda Nunes Felicia Spencer fight, and she's only minus 350 against Felicia Spencer.
Really?
bro. She's gonna get her head taken off in the first round.
Where is that? Like on DraftKings or something?
Yeah, DraftKings, FanDuel, Bet365.
When's that go down?
May in the beginning of May.
Did you jump on it yet? Before that shit goes up to 500?
I haven't yet because I was debating on, do I bet them individually or do I just bet Khabib and her together at like minus 130 and just go deep?
Oh, so you do a parlay at minus 130.
Yeah, you can get minus 130. Yeah.
Yo, did you guys, not to interrupt, but did you guys see that Cuomo thing that just happened?
No, what happened?
So Chris Cuomo has on Andrew Cuomo, and like he brings him on and he goes, here's my brother, Andrew. And he goes, thanks for coming on. And Andrew goes, Mom told me I had to. And Chris Cuomo just goes, he like shrugs him. He just gets pissed. You can see he gets mad.
I didn't know they were brothers. I
Yeah.
learned something today.
Yeah, Mario was her dad.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. I mean, Nuna's got to be minus 500. I mean, I would take it to minus 500, and then I would have to think about it.
where, yeah, I think that's where she'll close. That's where she'll close.
I would put Khabib at like minus like 230, 240, in my opinion.
Yeah, where it's
I think if they fought 10 times, it's a 6-3, 6.5 to 3.5.
I
type thing.
think that's being kind.
Well, 2-1, right?
Yeah, I know, but I don't think that Tony wins anywhere near 4 out of 10 times. Not against that wrestling.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. I would do 3. You're right. 2.5 to 3.
Right.
Why is
Yeah.
Logan's
2.5 to 3.
Why is Logan's run trending on Twitter?
Hey, Twatty, do you watch a lot of boxing?
I do. Like I feel like I'm a little bit more of a historian than now. But I watch a lot now.
Teofimo Lopez and Vasil Lomachenko fight. Who would you take in that one?
I'm gonna take Lomo.
I would too. I'm surprised. When they're talking about it, it's going to be pretty even. You're going to be able to actually bet that fight.
Yes.
Yeah.
The thing that bothers me about Lomo is how do I say it? He's so skilled. He's so skilled and he's so slick, but he doesn't pack a punch. He really doesn't.
Well, I think he's fighting way above his natural weight. I think he's just such a small dude.
And Lopez does pack a punch.
Right.
So
that's why it's a fun fight, but usually the boxers beat the punchers in those fights.
No doubt about it. So is there a line on it?
No, but Lopez is.
It's the JT Dixon Class 1.
From what I'm hearing, if they do fight, the numbers will be pretty close to each other. It's not going to be like you're not going to have to lay like minus 400 with Loma.
Well, like minus
be-
150.
Yeah, it's gonna be somewhere around there. A lot of people are big on Lopez. Younger, like you said, packs a punch. So
I mean, I don't know. I think he's a generational boxer. But
yeah,
again,
he is.
if you can't take that guy out, you could be as slick as you want. You get hit with a big bomb. And Lomachenko's been down, right? He's been down. Was it in his last fight or the fight before? Didn't he go down?
I don't know. I didn't see his last fight, so
he against the kid from Montreal who was like 30-0 or 30-1. I thought he went down early in that fight, but then dominated.
I have to look it up. Yeah, was it just a flash knockdown though, where he wasn't even hurt?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Are you guys watching the Wilder fight? They put it on ESPN. Wilder Fury 2 on ESPN right now.
Oh, that's not a bad deal.
Yeah. It's about to start right now.
So, Logan's Run is trending on Twitter right now. And the Texas lieutenant governor. So I want to tap out of that conversation.
Oh, Jeff, I didn't congratulate you on your new job.
Well,
congrats.
We're on hold for a little.
Well, we all are on hold, but
hopefully it all works out. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you.
Nicely done.
Appreciate that, man. Did you hear Anthony? Did you hear what he said?
Well, I mean, you could surmise what he said.
He basically said that he basically said that most grandparents are willing to die for their grandchildren, basically. Like,
yeah, it's just
which I mean isn't wrong. I mean, if I had kids, I would die for my kid. You know.
He also said other stupid shit, but I mean, what do you expect from the lieutenant governor of Texas?
Where's what's his Tyler been?
He's been working crazy overtime, taking advantage of that since he can't.
Might as well, nothing else to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, his job's not shutting down, but some people have called in and they're offering a lot of overtime. So he said,
"What's he do again?
Make that money." He works on an assembly line.
Okay.
Like a metal factory or something.
Yeah.
Jeff, I bet the 8 to win at Australia in the first.
When's that start?
10 minutes.
I'm in on that. What's the track called?
Geelong. Geelong.
Oh,
did we win that Mike Pence bet yet?
Which one? The negative one?
The one that we laid 1,500 on?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think I did. Yeah.
I mean,
hey, Spread. So let's assume we all get back to playing some basketball. What do you think is going to go down in the NBA? Do you think it's going to be one of the LA teams out of the West against like Milwaukee, Toronto? What do you think?
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's so hard. I mean, it's sexy. I was actually complaining about it. I basically throw my model out the window, right? Because I think these teams are going to come back. Some are going to look great right off the bat. Others won't. I think the teams that will look good will be teams like the Lakers that are driven by one player and everyone just fits in. They don't require as much chemistry. Milwaukee might take a little while to come back. But remember, Giannis had sprained his knee in the Lakers game, so the time off is good for him. Obviously, the time off
dimes.
Helps the older players, like Leonard and George, who weren't 100% all year. So, I mean, I lean that way. But I'll tell you what, I'm going to be treading really lightly when it does come back because basically I don't think my numbers are going to be worth anything at that point. Almost carrying over from last season. At the beginning of the year in November, I usually don't bet too heavy. I bet a lot of games, but I don't bet. I lower my stakes a lot. So I'm kind of looking at that. But yeah, it's hard between teams.
You said the 8?
Yeah, he's 5-2.
Kislina?
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that as well. Yo, Matt, do you know anything about horse racing or no?
No.
Okay. Spread.
Yeah.
Yesterday, Jay and I did a show on SBR.
Yeah.
We hit 2 pick 4s and a pick 5. Jay, how much should we make?
$300 combined.
Yeah, we usually if you hit 2 pick 4s and a pick 5, you should make 2,000 probably.
Yep.
We make 300. I mean,
You know what, Jeff? I made more money on my $100 Lieutenant Dan bet.
yeah.
Where it turned me just as much as those 2 pick 4s and pick 5.
The Lieutenant Dan bet. Did you see the race before that? The 7 came from like 20 lengths and won. Did you see that? I had that horse, Canyon Crest, 7-1.
Isn't horse racing a sport though, where if 200 people are tailing you, that's going to mess up your payout?
No,
I mean,
it's going to drop the odds, but that's any sport. And a lot of people weren't tailing us. Like I feel like.
Hey Jeff, you should check your bet because 5 dimes were assholes and they deleted the wager.
Really?
Oh, they fucked you.
I could have sworn I got it credited, honestly.
They said that since the news of Mike Pence not having coronavirus came out at like 8:50 Eastern, and I made the bet at like 11:30.
I'm not gonna lie, we did screw them.
Yeah, I was just saying, like, that's not really like the shadiest thing.
Yeah,
and it already been announced, and you bet it. Like, you can't be like
they left it up.
Yeah, they left it up.
Right,
I mean, we were willing to risk 1,500 to win 100. We had the info. How the fuck? Who the fuck are they to do that? They fucking had it up.
Oh, they do that all the time.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, they said my wager was placed at like 11 whatever p.m. on Eastern Standard Time, and it was announced he didn't have it at like 8:50.
So why the fuck didn't you pull it then?
Yeah, like why did you still have it up over 2.5 hours after they already announced he didn't have coronavirus?
Yeah, typical 5 dimes.
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, the bet got torpedoed by them. That makes me sad.
So back to NBA just real quick, Jeff.
Yeah.
What do you think about your fucking Sixers? You know, coming into the season, I thought one of the worst signings was Tobias Harris at the max contract. And it's proven that was a bad contract. Do you think that they're there? You think they're Toronto, Milwaukee? What's your opinion?
The problem is not only is the Harris contract bad, but the Horford contract is even worse. And you basically at this point have to basically understand, I don't think Ben Simmons is going to come back. I don't, again, who knows with all this extra rest time, but I mean, a back injury is difficult. I mean, Joel Embiid, I mean, it's pretty clear he's never healthy, and I'm sure that will lag most of the season. I've not been high on them for a while. I'm not a Brett Brown guy. I said they should have fired him 2 years ago, and he's still around. I think there's limited offense in this team, really, outside of Embiid and you know several of the starters. But you need Simmons to run the show. I'm not real big into their bench. I think most of it has been poor outside of Thibault and you know Glenn Robinson, Alec Burks a little bit, but. Yeah, I'm not high. I think all the teams you mentioned are better than them. I think defensively, people always hang their hat on the fact that they can defend. The problem is, I mean, so can the other teams. I mean, so can Boston, so can Milwaukee. So, you know, I mean, even the Heat. I think the Heat are more are a team I would like over the Sixers. I'm not real high on them.
So what, you're saying the Sixers are the fourth best team in the East, or
I think it's conceivable to think at this point. I mean, I know what are they in the East? I think they're fifth or sixth in the East. I mean, when look at Indiana, for instance. When Indiana's fully healthy, you've got Brogdon, you've got Oladipo, you've got Turner, you've got Sabonis, you've got a really good basketball team when healthy. I mean, I think it's even conceivable to say they can match up with the Sixers. This Sixers team isn't going to win because they've put a lot of bad contracts in this team. They got rid of the only scorer that could score at the end of the game. They got rid of him. They have a guy that can't motivate or challenge anybody. I think they're I would be surprised, honestly, and I'm not kidding. I'd be surprised if they win a series. I just don't think they're that good. I know they're good at home, but you're going to have to go on the road and win games. And I don't even think they could beat the bad teams on the road. It's a challenge most of the time. So, yeah, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I can't imagine a scenario where I trade Jimmy Butler. I mean, he's a thug in basketball shoes. He's a finisher. He's a defensive player. He's a leader. He's a good scorer.
And the thing is, you not only didn't sign him, but then you go out and give those two max money, basically. I mean, it just the problem was Jimmy Butler, didn't have a relationship with Brett Brown. He didn't, the rest of the team liked him. I mean, Embiid and him are still friends. They had a good relationship. I just think, he was willing to he wanted to be the guy, and they didn't really treat him like the guy.
Yeah.
What do you attribute their incredible home record to their abysmal road record? Why do you think that is?
Leadership.
Yeah, most teams, as you know, play better at home than they do on the road. But I think a lot of it has to do with just, they're comfortable there and they just kind of ball out and do their thing there. But I don't really know how I can answer that from a statistical, analytical standpoint. I think it's important to realize that I think it's a lot more them being bad on the road because they don't have a guy that can particularly lead them. They tune Brett Brown out, and Brett Brown is just not. He shouldn't be a coach in this league. He just shouldn't. I mean, but to answer the question, I don't know that I have a conceivable answer for it. But a lot of teams are good at home. The problem is in this league, you have to win, on the road and as well.
I think if Jimmy Butler was still on that team, they'd be a much better road team. Not that one person makes that big of a difference, but again, he's a leader, he's a scorer, he's a tenacious defender. I think that is a huge loss.
Another issue they have, and I've been a real proponent of this for a while, and the team across the street does it as well. The Eagles, they've had an issue with their ability to talent scout is not good enough, and the Sixers they don't care about second round picks, which is a really reckless way to lead a team because that's how you build a bench. That's how you build solid role players. You look at like Indiana, they're a prime example. One of their solid starters is TJ Warren, who is he was a role player for a lot of his career. He comes out of NC State. He doesn't get drafted that high. He's turned into a nice player. You look at the Heat. Kendrick Nunn, undrafted. Duncan Robinson, undrafted. Derrick Jones Jr., undrafted. Goran Dragic, late second round. All these guys. Myers Leonard. A lot of these guys weren't.
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, a lot of these
second rounder, right?
Yeah, a lot of these guys.
No, he was a first rounder.
A lot of these guys weren't.
It had been late.
But 3 of their 5 starters are undrafted players. It's no secret that they built their team because they were able to scout correctly and draft the right players. The Sixers have completely. Go back and look at their drafts. They have been horrific at drafting players. It goes back to when I was a kid. I remember when they drafted, Samuel Dallenberg and Evan Turner, and it just horrible decisions. And they've set them back because every year they have a new team and they don't have any bench and they have nothing. It's really astounding.
The spread and Jimmy and BMOC. Miami, they played great all year, but do they really have enough talent? They can't. No. They can't come out of the East with that lineup.
I don't think they come out of the East, but I think they. I think spread will agree. I don't. Like I said, I think they're kind of on par with the Sixers, and I've seen them on par. They've been very good against the Sixers here, but I think spread will agree that I think that the Bucks are on a different level than everyone else. And then you have your Torontos and your Bostons, and then you have your Philadelphia, Indiana, and Miami. They're interesting. I think they can win a series, but I don't think they can go the whole way.
So here's where I'm a little opposite on your tiers. I actually put Miami and Philly in that.
They scratched her. Jeff, they scratched her. She won't go in the gate. I'm taking the 10.
Okay.
All this
Oh.
talk about sports is starting to depress me.
Well, just my point is, they match up. Miami matches up really well with Milwaukee. The way that red in that zone, they can actually give Giannis a lot of problems.
Good.
But they have to get to the finals, and that's where they can get knocked out. Philly's another team that, like, everything you said is true. But when they put it together, they can defend better than anyone in the league, most arguably, but definitely a top 5 team in the league. And they're going to be able to get buckets in crunch time easier than Toronto and then Miami and then Boston in my mind.
I'm not real sure about that. I don't. I mean, again, I respect your basketball acumen considerably, but
Yeah.
I don't see it. I mean, I don't see anyone that can create their own shot really that I trust.
Except for Embiid in the post.
Embiid,
Embiid in the post is
But that's the problem. He doesn't stay in the post. He doesn't want. He's a lazy basketball player. It's been his.
But Jeff,
don't
don't you think in crunch time, Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Final or
Right.
whatever, don't you think that he'll get the ball on the post and take over?
No, he had a chance to last year and he didn't.
But Gasol is a tougher guy to go against than the
Listen,
rest of these guys.
The microcosm of what they are is what they were in the final 3 minutes against Toronto. They couldn't score. Toronto could, and they found a way to win. They had Kawhi Leonard and the Sixers didn't. Listen, the Sixers fucked up 2 years ago when they didn't trade Ben Simmons and a group of players to San Antonio because they could have done it. I feel if they would have traded Ben Simmons and like Covington and Saric, maybe a first-round pick, they could have got Kawhi Leonard. I believe it. They didn't do it. They valued.
No, they could have. They definitely could have.
Yeah, they valued Ben Simmons, and the problem is they knew he wouldn't sign long-term there, so they didn't figure it was a good idea. They were willing to win a championship one time because if they did, they would have won last year. Embiid
agree
and
with
Leonard
that,
would have
too.
won.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So no, I don't trust Embiid because he never does it. It doesn't do it ever.
But when I look at the 76ers roster, to both you guys, that roster is better than Milwaukee's roster.
I don't think so.
Wait. Milwaukee obviously has the best player in the world, or second best player in the world. But then what? So you got Middleton.
He's better than anyone the Sixers have outside of Embiid.
Not better than Embiid. Maybe
Well,
not better than Simmons.
I mean, outside of Embiid, he's not better than Embiid, but he's better. Simmons is.
So you're saying that Milwaukee's talent is better than Philly's talent?
I would think so, right?
Yeah.
Well, don't look at the record. Look at the roster.
I think, as I said,
He's got a point.
No, I'm serious. I think Middleton. I mean, here's the thing: Antetokounmpo is better than anybody. He's better than anyone the Sixers have.
Right. Yeah.
Middleton, outside of Embiid, Middleton's better than anyone the Sixers have.
Okay.
Eric Bledsoe, I mean, I think he's a really solid point guard. I have no issue with him. I don't like him either, but he's good enough.
Yeah.
Brooke Lopez is better than Horford. I mean, Wesley.
I don't know.
I don't know. I think the top four. I think the top four on both teams is pretty fucking close.
But here's the problem: they have George Hill, DiVincenzo, Connaughton, Robin Lopez, Kyle Korver, Sterling Brown, and Ilyasova. The Sixers have, fucking, Alec Burks, Mike Scott. I mean, come on, man.
Right. So it's
I love DiVincenzo, man. DiVincenzo, that's the kid from Villanova, right?
Yeah, he's terrific. He's a good player.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah, so top talent. I in my opinion, Philly's got the better, 1 through 4, and then obviously Milwaukee's better 5 through 12. But
the problem,
though? You have to think about Twatty that they were like 9-1 without Antetokounmpo in the lineup, aren't they? Spread.
That went back to earth.
I didn't know that.
Also,
last couple of games that went back to earth, but yeah.
Also, keep in mind, this is why the Sixers won't win in the playoffs. Because if you look at the other three teams, even Miami, Spoelstra, they are so superior.
Okay, and that's a great point too.
Yeah, like all they're going to do is they're going to say to Simmons, "We're going to give you
Shoot.
the
Yeah.
foul line and behind, and he ain't going to shoot." That's their fucking problem. I said this before. I would have traded Ben Simmons for D'Angelo Russell. I said it. I would have.
Well, he fits better.
He would have been.
Pick and roll with those two.
Wow.
It would have been awesome.
Yeah.
It would free shooters up. You should have retained JJ Redick because
Redick was huge.
because the issues that he would have defensively, you can mask because you have the other guys that can defend.
Right.
And that's the problem. Brett Brown is so poor compared to Stevens, Budenholzer,
Yeah,
Durst.
good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
not
we
even
haven't
fair.
talked about Boston. So here's my biggest problem with Boston for the last 5 years. They have 8 guys that play the same fucking position. They play the 3 and the 4. It's like Marcus Smart, Tatum, like all these guys play the same position.
I don't know about spread, but I picked Boston before the season to go to the finals. I just felt that, I just loved the Kemba Walker edition. I just felt like he is just so different than Irving was as a player, and I think Tatum has really developed into one of the top players in the league. I will, and I'm sure spread will bring this up. I really am concerned though about what do they do down low. I mean, how do they guard Antetokounmpo? How do they do that? Because again, if they get to the finals, I mean, the Lakers or whoever will eat them up, but. I like their team. I mean, their team is really solid. Defensively, they're really good. Walker's a great scorer. I like the Hayward. He's kind of that role player that we know he can be. I don't know. I like
again. Don't all those guys play the same position? They play the 3.
Yeah,
Marcus Smart,
but
Tatum,
the new NBA
Jaylen Brown,
lineup is-
Hayward. They all play the 3.
But the new NBA lineup is a point guard, 3 forwards,
Right.
and maybe a center or 4 forwards. I mean,
Right, you're not
there's a lot of
playing-
teams that do that. That's not that's.
and you're not playing like he's saying. You're not playing the 1 through 5 wherever. Like one player's point guard, one player's shooting guard. They're interchangeable. So
I know, but they're all the same size and can do the same things. It
Yeah.
seems like to me.
But that works well when they run the switching defense because you try and run a pick and
On
roll
defense,
and
right.
they're just like, okay, we're just going to switch. It's really not
right.
Their problem is that they're really vulnerable down low, and they're vulnerable if they are not able to stay in front of their man. So there are games where you see them get lazy, or they single out Kemba Walker and attack him. And if they're able to beat their perimeter man, Tice isn't rolling well. Cantor's not a very good role defender either. He's a terrible out in the perimeter too. So I just struggle with their defense. But I was with you, Jeff. I really like them a lot, and I didn't go as far as you. And we'll see how this all turns out because I think if they just called the season, I'm going to come up short. But I had them to win the Atlantic.
I don't think there's, and again, this is just my opinion. I mean, I could be dead wrong, and I could just be reading into things. But from what I've heard from Adam Silver, I think it's pretty unlikely they cancel anything.
I just think it's going to start back up in August. But will it?
Yeah.
I mean, will our season win totals all get thrown out the window because they?
Are they? My question
they
is,
only play 10 more games. And so if you have the Raptors over 47 or the Bulls under 33, a couple tickets that I have that I was planning on cashing, they'll probably just get.
Jeff, the guy at TVG is picking a 25-1 shot to win this race.
It didn't start yet?
No.
Who's 25-1?
The 13, that's who he's got.
I'll take a shot with that.
How do you not?
Fuck it. I'm going to bet him to place too.
25-1.
Spread. I'll tell you one thing about the NBA. That Toronto team's starting to look more interesting as we go. I mean, they look built to win in the playoffs. With their just their ability to defend, their size.
My main concern with them, and this is where having all this time off, it might help. I didn't like the last couple games that I saw where Lowry kind of was taking over at the end. They have to run through things on Siakam. And they're still figuring out that dynamic where Lowry's been the team leader and he's comfortable taking those shots. But they need to work those through Siakam. But with this extra time, a lot of that stuff can be getting rid of.
Can I ask you guys one thing? What's the point of I'm on ESPN and they like, what's the point of baby Stephen A. Smith? What is up with that?
It's kind of funny.
There's a baby Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah, they have all the characters as babies.
I thought it was funny, but I was high when I watched it. But
I'm not saying it's not.
It's
funny,
kind of funny.
What's the point of that though?
Just as a joke, I guess. Hey, big man, why I got you on here with these other guys? Because we all watch college basketball.
Yeah.
Who would you have had coming out winning it all?
Well, look, I would probably if I told you who I actually believe we're going to get to the Final Four, it would probably have surprised you. But I got to tell you, I had 2 blue bloods in the Final Four, and I'm not even. I guess Gonzaga I wouldn't even consider as a blue blood, but for me, the Final Four I had was Gonzaga, Dayton, BYU.
Wow, me too.
Yeah,
Wow.
I was big on BYU. I've been carrying their water forever, and I felt like it was interesting because I love Seton Hall for a lot of the year, but I had a feeling that those two would run into each other. But yeah, I was high on Dayton. I thought they had conceivably been the best offense I'd seen since Villanova a couple years ago. They were just, incredible offensively. But yeah, it's a shame. I was so interested in seeing how those teams would shake out. I was wondering what teams would get in. It's definitely depressing. Obviously we're kind of used to it at this point, knowing sports with no sports after 10 days or whatever, but it sucks because we know who's in the Sweet 16 right now. We're devoid of it. It sucks.
What would you and Jay? What'd you guys think for national champion?
Oh, Creighton was going to win it all.
Well, I actually had Creighton going a long way, but is that your answer?
They were going to win it all.
It's not his answer.
All right, Jay.
Yeah, but wait a minute. Even without their point, didn't they lose their point guard?
Yeah, they did. Zagorowski.
Yeah, that's a big that would have been.
That doesn't matter to
Zagorowski
him. That
was
doesn't matter to
good.
him. He could go out there and play, and they'd still win.
Zagorowski was good too.
Yeah, he's
He
the
was
reason
a
they
baller.
beat Seton Hall.
Was he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, Anthony was the reason that they beat Seton Hall.
Oh, he was there. That's right.
Yeah.
Oh,
No,
that-
I thought the Zags were the best team in the country. I agree with Jeff, man. That Dayton's 2-point offense was fucking absurd. So
Obi
I thought-
Toppin. Where's
yeah.
Obi Toppin? Oh my God! If
Well,
he's
they
not
made 30
he's not going to be the number 1 pick, but
They made
Jesus,
32-point field goals in a row in a game.
that is crazy.
Yeah, he's not going to be the number 1 pick, but he's a kid. I really feel bad for him because I thought honestly, if he had a good tournament, I think he could become a lottery pick. I thought he was fringy lottery pick. I've said before on this show, he reminds me a lot of Kenyon Martin. That's kind of my comparison for him.
Who do you think goes first in the draft, Jeff? First 3?
Well, it really depends who picks. If it's the Warriors and I'm the Warriors, I would take James Wiseman 100%. I'm telling you, if they get James Wiseman, they'll win a couple more titles because you put him into the Curry, Thompson, Green group. James Wiseman is a maniac. He's
The Warriors are going to go from the worst team in the NBA to the best team in the
That's
NBA.
how they figured it. That's what they did. It's
Think
really
about it. If they get Wiseman on that team with Curry and Thompson and Green and D'Angelo Russell, is that not the best team in the NBA?
Russell would be
in Minnesota.
Yeah, Russell left, and he would have been going anyway.
Oh, I'm sorry, he left. Yeah,
but you're
well,
but
no,
again,
Wiggins.
Yeah, Wiggins.
and even without those 4 are really good. So it really doesn't matter. Listen, I love LaMelo Ball. It really depends who picks first.
Yeah.
I think LaMelo Ball could be. I think he's the biggest player to be drafted since LeBron James, probably.
Wow.
He reminds me of a poor man's Jason Kidd. I think he's better than Jason Kidd.
Yeah, I think he. I think people really
As
are
someone who grew up watching Jason Kidd,
He's-
because he's my age and he
I
was
think he's
the
better.
biggest thing. Well, also, but they're way different players at this point in their career. Kidd couldn't shoot nearly as well as LaMelo Ball did. I mean, when he came in the league,
That's what I'm
that was
saying.
actually a liability. Well, LaMelo Ball can shoot. I mean, he's going to come
Yeah.
to the league and be a shooter.
I think
Kidd
he's
couldn't
No,
shoot
I
that
said
way.
Jason Kidd is a poor man's LaMelo Ball.
Yeah,
Not
No,
vice
but-
versa.
no. But Kidd could pass better. He had better floor vision, 10 times better
Mm-hmm.
defender. Now we'll see when LaMelo actually applies himself. But I remember at the time in 92, Kidd was a senior in high school, and a lot of the respected writers around here felt that he should have been on the dream team, that he was better than Shaq, better than Leitner at that point in their careers,
yeah.
So I'm
mean,
a big Kidd guy.
No, I love Kidd, and I think to me he's more like LaMelo Ball. I'd compare him more to like Penny Hardaway. I feel like that's
Really?
yeah, I do. I think I think we have to realize he's grown. I mean, he's a big kid now. I mean, he's 6'6".
Yeah. Yeah,
He's
I was
not
thinking
6'6".
he'll be like Devin Booker when he comes in. I think he's going to put
Could
up
see
a
it.
lot of points, get some assists, but they might be just based off how high his usage is. And then he's got to just learn the rest of the game. He's going to have to learn how to win.
I think he's way superior to his brother. I think.
Yes. And Lonzo's a good player now.
Oh yeah, Lonzo.
I think Lonzo's a good player too. I think he's going to continue to develop, and he's the perfect point guard for
I mean,
Zion.
Lonzo had a lot of pressure. I mean, I think his role was a lot of people made him out to be this. He was the second best player second player drafted because of the fanfare around him.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think in grand scheme of things, he's been a bust. I mean, to be honest, I mean, to where he was drafted to compare to what he is a little high. But no, the kid coming in is special. I mean, he's a special
I
player.
agree. I think he's unbelievable.
And from a ticket sales standpoint, I think he's the biggest phenom type of player since LeBron. I think popularity wise, I mean, he's a megastar.
So where would he go spread right now? Like, let's say he's 2 or 3. Who does that? I'm trying to think like who's last in the league.
I mean, you got right now. It would be.
Well, yeah, because right now we have no season. So like, who would he even go to?
Well, I think Cleveland wouldn't take him. I don't. At least I don't think.
But how do you determine that when there's no season?
Yeah,
Well, it all depends where the balls drop too. There's a lottery.
Oh yeah. Right.
I mean, I think when you're a team in the top 5, I mean, you're obviously going for the need and things like that. But the T-Wolves are interesting. I mean, in that system, it could be interesting. I think the T-Wolves go for more of
The Warriors will have the T-Wolves. Oh, not this year though, huh? The Warriors have next year's pick, right?
Yeah, I think the T-Wolves, I think they would go more towards an Obi Toppin type of player. Obi Toppin, he looks more and more like Amari Stoudemire kind of.
I mean, would you
Yeah.
surprise if he ended
Good
up
one.
being the best
Good
player in
one.
that draft?
What was
I
that?
mean, would it be that crazy if Obi Toppin was the best player in this draft?
No, I don't
No.
think at all. No.
Yeah, I think he's got a serious
He's a great
shot.
player.
Yeah.
I mean, I
That's a
think
good one. Amari Stoudemire is a good one. But he's got a way better outside game than Stoudemire did. But
yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, Obi is he had a great season, and I don't know if he even necessarily needed the tournament because I think it's better to go out on kind of high than totally high or totally low. So I think he had a great season, and a kid that not a lot of people are going to talk about. I know Spread. I don't know if you know this guy. You're kind of a Pac-12 guy, but a kid out of USC, Onyeka Okongwu. He's a guy that I think a lot of people are going to get to know. He's a Bam Adebayo type of player. I mean,
The
really,
thing with him though is, don't you think he needs to go late to a good team? Because if he comes in and he's a high usage guy, it's not going to be good.
I think a Hawks would be an interesting fit.
You think they would grab him that high?
Yeah,
Like, he's going to go that high.
I think he's
Hawks
kind
are a
of.
lottery team.
Well, he's a guy that the kid blocks shots. He's a real specimen. He kind of reminds you of like what Jackson Hayes was last year.
Yeah.
So I think a team that maybe has it like a John Collins, they put him slotted next to him.
Well, they have Capella too, so that would be interesting. But
True.
I don't think you draft for need when you're the Hawks.
But think,
Right? You got to take the best player on the board.
but spread. Think if you had Okongwu, Collins, and Capella.
Yeah, that would be a
with
pretty
Young.
sweet big lineup. Yeah. And you have Herter on the other side. And I like Herter as long as his role is drain threes and guard the weakest offensive player.
You know, spread. You know what I think's going to happen? I think LaMelo Ball is going to go to the Knicks.
Wouldn't that be perfect?
And I think-
I love LaMelo.
How do you
and
think
I-
he would fit
so
next to
high on him.
RJ Barrett? Do you think he'd fit well with RJ Barrett?
And I think he would. He's one kid that would be perfect for New York because he's been followed around for 5 years now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like the kid's got like 7 million Instagram followers.
That's
He's
a
never
good call.
played in the NBA. It's amazing. He's got such a wild popularity. It's fascinating, really.
Jeff, that 35-1 shot's been bet down to 4-1.
Guy was right. It's onto something there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of really interesting players. You know, you have a lot of kids that had good seasons. You know, the Sadiq Bays of the world, Villanova, and Cole Anthony. Obviously, he's going to be a top 15 pick probably.
I can't stand Cole Anthony, man.
Not a fan, huh?
How come?
Volume shooter, you know what I mean? I don't like anybody that doesn't make your team better. And he frankly doesn't make his team better. He's just a volume shooter.
I think
and to top it off, he's kind of an asshole. So
I mean, he had a tough. I will say, I think he had a tough. He had a really tough season. I mean, he had like a nagging injury the entire year. He was on a bad team. I think that's important to mention. That was not a good UNC team. That's the worst team they've had in a long time, if ever.
Yeah.
I think the kid, coming into the year, could make the case he was a lottery pick. A lot of people thought he was a top 10 type of pick. He's got the bloodlines. He's got the ability to lead a team, but he had a really tough year. I mean, it definitely sucks that's how his year shaked out.
I actually liked his father as a player better than him.
Oh, Greg was great. Yeah.
I thought coming out of
He was the
UNLV,
point guard on the great UNLV team, right? With Stacey
but he
Ogden,
was
Larry
so
Johnson.
underrated. He was so underrated. He could get to the hole. He could shoot. He could shoot threes. He was tough. He could defend. And he went to the Knicks, and he went to a slow down offense with the Knicks, and his career kind of disintegrated. But I think he was a better player than Cole is.
One guy to keep an eye out for. I talked about this a while ago on this show. This kid Avdija, Danny Avdija.
Oh yeah,
I
he's
mean,
a European guy, right?
yeah. And
Yeah.
look, I'm not going to say he's Doncic, but I mean he's got a really
He's got a nice game.
yeah.
And I think that they're going to start, after seeing what Luka did, I think that these guys are going to get a little more respect. You have to remember these European guys, right? I mean, they're not like playing on AAU teams and
No, they've been playing basketball since
they're 14, and they start going to the pro teams as role players. So they
Yeah,
learn how to get minutes and how to win.
I've
which I
said to
think
you-
is a huge advantage.
I've said to you before, I'll take a European kid any day over, some of these college kids. I mean, these European kids are, they've been out there playing for years, and they're playing, Serbian leagues, and
And they're playing games where the winner matters. The problem with AAU is they play six games in a day. They don't
Yeah.
go home like with the sting of defeat or happy because they won. They're like, oh
It's
yeah,
all
we
about
won
showcasing.
4-2, and I dropped 28, I dropped 26, and
yeah, it's all about
Well,
showcasing your talent.
yeah.
I just pulled up the 2020 draft just here to shoot the shit. Looks like Wiseman to the Warriors, Anthony Edwards to the Cavs. What do you guys think about Edwards? Again, a volume shooter. I mean, what do you guys think about him?
Yeah, I think he's a great scorer. I think he's a guy that has a huge motor. I mean, the kid can, dunk like anybody. It's hard to say. I think going to Georgia
Number 2 overall, though.
Going to Georgia is kind of a waste of time. I mean, Tom Crean, that was like Ben Simmons going to LSU for a year. It was a complete waste of time. Anthony Edwards would have been a right from high school to the league if he could. I think he's a top 5 pick for sure. I mean, I think he's a really good player.
Are they
we have,
delaying the draft?
Not that I know.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Well, they're going to have to because the draft position will be based on the results, right?
Yeah.
Because it's a lottery, and then it goes off your results. So
I
if
would
Philly
think they-
loses in the first round, they could draft 16 if they make it.
Well,
to the
luckily
final
they
draft.
can. Like if you were
29.
saying, you said something about 10-game season or something.
Yeah.
You know, they finish the season, then they have it. You know, during the playoffs.
But still, but the last spots are determined by. I mean, I guess they could switch the rules, but
yeah,
as of right now, right, the champion goes 30, the other finalist goes 29.
You might be looking at
28, 27.
might be looking at a September draft. I mean, it's
Yeah.
fascinating.
There's not a lot of big names actually going through here. We got Edwards at 2. We have Obi Toppin at 3. We got LaMelo Ball at 5, right before the next pick with the Pistons. I mean, he'll go to Detroit to die. I mean, they're not trying to do shit there. So they have LaMelo Ball going to the Pistons.
Yeah, I
And then
really
they
hope he
got-
doesn't go to the Pistons. I mean that.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah.
As you said, I mean that would be. I mean, you think his dad got mad that he, went. His dad would be through the roof if he goes to the Pistons. I hope he goes to the Knicks. I really do because I think that would be. Yeah, I think they're a team that will be good.
I'll be right back, guys.
So I hope he does because I don't want to see the kid have a career like that.
It looks
But,
like that this hypothetical thing, they have the Pistons at 5 and Knicks at 6, and LaMelo goes at 5.
I mean,
And
it
then-
would be interesting though. LaMelo and Blake Griffin, that could be interesting.
And then we go down to the Warriors with RJ Hampton. The Suns with Tyrese Halliburton, I think he's very overrated. He's not a number 10 pick overall.
Yeah, he's going to take a hit when he got injured. That's going to knock him down a little bit.
Halliburton.
Yeah. How good was that Iowa State team last year? They should have went further.
They had some great seasons with Fred Hoiberg there. Niang and a couple of those teams. They were really good.
They had the kid that transferred from Virginia. Who was a kid from
Shayok.
Africa? Shayok.
Yeah.
And they had the kid that their number 1 scorer last year they underachieved. Sadiq Bey, Pelicans, Cole Anthony going
He's
to
a guy to keep your eye on. Sadiq Bey is interesting. He's your prototypical 3-and-D guy. I mean, he's a guy that can play a couple different positions, really fits this NBA. If he goes back to school, which I've heard talk that he'd consider it, but I, at this point, I don't think he can. I think he's a lottery pick. He's got to go out.
Oh, this is cool. They give a comp. His comp is Chris Middleton. Nice.
Yeah, I think it's a little, I think, positive, but yeah, I could see it. I mean, similar body types, similar player.
James Wiseman comp is Anthony Davis. Anthony Edwards is a bigger Oladipo.
Yeah.
Obi Toppin is a stronger Drew Gooden or Amari Stoudemire, which you said that's a good call. I agree with that. Yeah.
I said Kenyon Martin too. I mean, the kid, I think he even looks like Kenyon Martin. I think he's I remember Kenyon Martin just doing those crazy dunks and you're just taking the roof off. That's how I see him in the league. I think he could be, kind of maybe like a, Aaron Gordon type. I could see something like that, and I think
Here's a good one. LaMelo Ball, a 6'8" Jason Williams. I like that.
Yeah.
White chocolate.
Yeah. I think he's a better player than that. I think
He's a better
6'8".
player I think Jason Williams had better highlights though.
Oh yeah, Jason Williams was just. I mean, that's what he was.
Whoever has the better highlights is the better player.
So this is my point right here with Cole Anthony. His comp is a poor man's Derrick Rose. Was the comp?
Yeah,
I think he's a poor man's whatever.
I think you're being a little harsh on him personally, but like I said, I thought before the season, I thought he was he was the top recruit in the country. I thought he just had a bad, he was on a bad team. I think it was really that simple. He had that injury. I mean, it was just, the kid gave his all, I think, every game. But unfortunately, I think that's a little, Derrick Rose would be if he could be Derrick Rose, I think he'd be happy.
Poor man's Derrick Rose. But no, I agree.
I've heard Austin Rivers. A lot of people.
Vassell from Florida State's Michael Redd. Okay. Vernon Carey Jr.
Michael Redd was great.
Yeah, Michael Redd was great. Vernon Carey Jr., Derek Coleman, or Vin Baker. I can see Vin Baker with Vernon Carey Jr.
Yeah, I mean, he could be the one of the more interesting players because he's really the only player in the top 25 that is, really outside of, Alexei Polkovetsky, outside of him, I mean, he's the only real, typical big. Like, Vernon Carey is like a typical bruising guy that can just put his head down and create in the lane. You really don't have a lot of those players in the NBA anymore. So it'd be interesting to see how he handles that. His father was a great football player, Vernon Carey. His dad was very good in the NFL.
So Polkovetsky's next. What's that, Spread?
Who was his dad?
Vernon Carey Sr.
I don't remember him. What team was he on?
I don't remember
He
really.
played for the Bucks.
Oh, okay. That's pretty cool.
Polkovetsky's actually next. Rafe LaFrance or poor man's KP or Porzingis, I guess.
Rafe LaFrance?
Yeah. I mean, Rafe
He's
LaFrance was
7-footer.
That's a funny comparison. Rafe LaFrance, I remember at Kansas. Then he played for the Celtics for a few years. I mean, Rafe LaFrance, that's a rough comparison. But, I mean, the KP argument is obviously, I think, the one you want a little bit more. Jalen Smith's comparison, I've heard a lot of.
Next.
I've heard PJ Brown. That's kind of a.
Are you reading what I'm reading?
No, I've heard.
That's exactly what it is. PJ Brown.
I've heard that before. I love PJ Brown. He was a really underrated player for the Heat. A lot of people don't remember him because they had Tim Hardaway and Mourning, but PJ Brown was a good player, man.
You got to figure Jalen Smith can be better than PJ Brown, though. No.
PJ Brown was a good player. Do you remember him, Spread? You remember PJ Brown?
Yeah, he was a Heat. He played for the Heat mostly.
I liked him a lot. I thought he was a good player. But, yeah, you would hope he's probably got a little bit of a more ascended career than that, yeah.
We go down with a couple Africans here. I don't know these guys.
Who do you got?
No. Diate from Virginia. He's going to be a first-rounder. Harvey Grant is his comp.
I think he's a fringe first-rounder. Oturu is interesting. Daniel Oturu. I loved him in Minnesota. I thought he was a really great player. I mean, he just got kind of outshadowed because of, Luka Garza and a couple of the other guys. But he had a great season last year.
Yeah,
I'd love to see him come back. They're going to have they're an interesting team, Minnesota, going forward. We'll see.
Where do I have him? Him at 23. Jamal McClure.
Yeah, some of these guys, I think, you could see maybe returning to school. I wouldn't surprise me if some of them do.
Okay, so rounding out the first round, we got Tyrese Maxey from Kentucky. They got his comp as Lou Williams. He's number 27.
He's just a volume scorer. I mean, that's
a good comp.
I'll tell you one thing. You not a lot of people know this guy either because a lot of people follow international basketball. But Amar Sila he's a guy to keep your eye out for. I mean, he is a really good defender. I mean, he is a tenacious kid, long. He's got a great, kind of just profile, wingspan. Keep your eye on him as well. He's an international name you start hearing.
I see him. His comp is Pascal Siakam. God, Siakam is a superstar.
Yeah.
He's a fucking superstar right now.
Yeah, I mean, not far from. I mean, Silas from Senegal, so not too far from Cameroon. I mean, yeah, intriguing upside. I mean, really intriguing kid. I think he's. You see these kids nowadays that come into the league. They're not real polished offensively, but they find their offensive game down the road. He's just going to play hard. He's going to give you a ton of upside defensively. He could do stuff in the open court. Keep your eye on him. You'll start hearing about him because of the international flair.
2 picks left. Lakers at 29. Cassius Stanley in his this is a name from the past, but absolute stud scorer. Latrell Sprewell. They don't pay me enough to feed my family.
Yeah.
So after he signed $100 million,
Wasn't he
they
the
got
guy
him at 29.
Wasn't he the guy who choked out his coach?
Yeah, PJ.
Yeah,
Cole.
PJ Colesimo, yeah.
And had guns in the lockers and the locker room.
I don't know about Stanley. I think he's interesting, kind of with the ball running in the half court, or in the full court. But I don't know about him offensively. I think he's still kind of raw from that end. Gonna have to improve a little bit. If I were him, and I'm not, but if I were him, I would go back to school.
Yeah, because they have him as the second last pick. If you can move up into the lottery, shit. Oh, yeah.
If I were him, he could really benefit from another year. I would go back to school if I were Cassius Stanley.
And the last pick is the Celtics from the Bucks, Nico Mannion. I mean, is he a first-round pick? I mean, why don't you go back to school? He's just a freshman, right?
Yeah.
Right, Jeff?
Yeah, another thing. Yeah, he is. He was a high recruit as well. Both kids were. Stanley and Mannion both were. Yeah, he's another guy. I think you have to remember, a lot of these kids, you really have to look at their family situation. Some of these kids have, tough upbringings. They want to go out and make some money, and I don't blame them for it. I mean, they're going to make money, but they're not going to make huge money that they can make if they have a great second year. I think Mannion, he really tailed off, I thought, after the first 10 games or so of the season. And, if you watched him, you would have saw it. Yeah, I think both kids would benefit from returning back.
Nice. Well, that was a projected first round.
By
But
the way,
again,
it's
how do we
funny-
know? Like, spread, how do we know? Like, let's say there's no season. What do they do? Base it off today?
If they
probably-
completely cancel the season, they would base it off the current records.
Right. So,
So the Lakers would draft last.
and Warriors
And
would be
Well, they would still do
be lottery.
a lottery. Yeah, they'll still do a lottery. Yeah.
And what's the point of the draft lottery, anyways?
They should go. They
Well,
should
they don't
make
want
it
you to
just
tank.
even. They should make it completely even. There should be 14 ping pong balls in there. Then there would literally be no tanking.
Well, because what I've always wondered is because people talk about they're tanking and stuff like that, but it's like, what's the point of tanking when even if you have the worst record in the
You
league,
get more ping pong balls. That's why.
you have a 25% chance to get the number one pick.
Yeah, I know. I completely agree with you. I think that the way it destroys your culture and just having your guys go out and get beat every night and lose confidence and all that stuff, I think it's way worse than moving up 2 slots in the draft. Because you can get good players, right? Donovan Mitchell went in the teens, right? Giannis went in the teens.
It just
It's
doesn't
not
make
like-
sense to me to tank.
Yeah.
There's
It's not like in the NFL where the worst
Automatically.
the worst record, you automatically get the number one pick. You're an underdog to get the number one pick, even if you have the worst record in the league. It's fucking stupid to fucking tank. I don't know.
Hey, Matt,
Yo,
I think there's also some really interesting guys in the second round. There's a kid, Isaiah Stewart. He went to Washington. I mean, he could have a really good career in the NBA. I mean, he's a Ben Wallace type of defender. I mean, just a shot blocker. It really just makes it difficult on you. It'll be interesting to see how they do with this whole, season and when they pick and when they don't pick. There's so many kind of weird caveats here.
so I'm just watching ESPN. So who do the Pats sign?
What's on ESPN?
They're talking about the Patriots right now. Do they sign Dalton, Stidham, Kessler, Hoyer? Well, no, they signed Hoyer today.
But I don't think there's any reason to do it quickly. I mean, no one else is going to pick up those guys. So,
Jeff, did you see the private chat?
What's that?
Did you see the private chat that I put the horses in there?
No, I just see it now.
So, or they were talking about, Belichick lives in the gray area. Does he tank this year to get whoever's the best quarterback next year?
That's what Donnie and I were talking
I
about.
don't think you can.
Fred thinks that they're better
Good.
than Spread thinks they're better than
Yeah, I think they're better than Buffalo.
You think they're better than Buffalo without Brady?
Well, I think they're going to get someone pretty good. I think they'll get Andy Dalton or Cam Newton or someone.
Yeah, but he's saying if they don't, they just go in with Stidham as their quarterback.
I mean, yeah, if they go Stidham, they'll have to reevaluate my stance because I don't think they're going in with Stidham. Do you guys really think they're going in with Stidham?
They like him from what I've heard.
He
and
was
he's cheap.
terrible last year.
Well, he only played
He
like
cost me a
7.
cover. It was terrible.
I mean, he only played like
so
7
upset about
snaps, though.
Yeah, and he threw like 2 interceptions in the 7 snaps.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I mean, they like him, though. He's cheap.
I was listening to you guys the other night, and I really like the Buccaneers. I know you guys don't really like the Buccaneers.
I'm taking them.
I really like them.
They're horrible.
Their defense played way better at the end of the year last year, and offensively,
Well, their
Man,
front seven played really well.
I really like the Buccaneers.
Offensive.
Have they made any secondary upgrades at all?
No.
What's that?
Because that was their weakness, right? I mean, they need to upgrade that secondary.
The last 8 games of the season, they were number 6 in defense. So, and I think they were 14th overall for the year. So, not that they're a good defense. I'm not saying that, but I think they're adequate enough. And I think that with Brady there, you have to understand they were 14th in defense with Jameis Winston as their quarterback, putting them behind the sticks, not behind the sticks.
Yeah, no,
in their own territory every time.
Yeah, a lot of bad positions.
Yeah, so.
And even when he scores quickly. So you got to get back out there.
Right. I really like them. I think they're a 11-win team.
Yeah, I like them too. But I'm on the opposite there. There's a lot of people who don't believe in Brady and think he'll be exposed, and this is going to be the ultimate test because if he can't make it work with these guys, then he's done.
No, I mean, he does. How is he going to be exposed? He does nothing but throw the ball 15 yards and what's the word? Closer. He's not. I mean, he doesn't.
Evans and Godwin are getting separation, and he's not hitting them. You know, I mean, these aren't these.
Godwin is awful fast. You're right. Yeah. But he's got two good tight ends. Mike Evans is a great 20 and in receiver. Godwin's a great deep threat. I mean, and they have a decent defense.
Yeah, no, I like them too, and I also don't think their division's very good. Do you? I like Brady more than Breeze at this point. I think Jay might disagree with me on that. I think Brady's still better than Breeze at this point. Carolina's going to be interested with Bridgewater, but let's see how much of that was just the fact that he had, some of the best weapons in the league and the best coach around him. And then,
I don't like Carolina. I don't like Carolina at all.
And you like Atlanta? I don't like Atlanta. They should have got rid of their coach too.
Atlanta's had the best offensive skill positions for 4 years, and somehow
they don't have
they're bad.
I think that Brady's going to get exposed because that defense is fucking terrible.
Tampa's defense, but they're not terrible.
They're pretty bad, Twatty.
No.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Twatty here. I think they're going to look pretty good there. And
their defense
holes. They're going to need.
Look at what their defensive DVOA was to end the year.
They were 14th in the NFL in defense, I think.
I'll check what their DVOA was right now.
I checked it on. I think it was either yards per game or points per game.
Yeah, well, that doesn't mean about a whole bunch.
Yeah, in fact, you would think those would skew even worse for him.
I'll tell you what, Tom Brady's got the best wide receiver core that he's probably ever had, top to bottom. Now
he's got OJ Howard and Cameron Brate.
Yeah,
I don't know how that's going to translate to wins, but man, I really like their wide receivers.
Furthermore, when both their wide receivers got hurt last year, at the end of the year, who the fuck came in? Who was it?
Perryman, but he's a free agent and hasn't got time.
Perryman. Yeah,
but
Perryman.
He's not coming back.
Oh, okay. Perryman's not coming back.
Well, I mean, maybe you would think that if they wanted him back, they would already sign him though, because if you look, he's on those like best available left. He hasn't signed with anybody.
Okay. But no, I'm not saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, but I like them. What were they, 7
No, I like their
last
over
year?
9.5. I like their over.
I
9.5.
think it sucks that we're not going to hit those team total overs every week probably now with Tampa Bay.
They're not, because the time of possession is going to go up. Brady's not going to be running up and down the field like Jameis.
Right.
Like, use the run more, shorter on third down for conversions, probably less down the field stuff. But overall, I think that'll lead them to be a better team because, with the worst defense, you don't want them out on the field as much. So
You don't think
that's going to make them look better?
You don't think that Teddy Bridgewater will be successful in Carolina, Twatty?
No.
You could be right. I don't know. I definitely
Yeah.
think that he deserved the chance to be a starting quarterback again in the league.
I mean, if you play one of those fantasy leagues, isn't McCaffrey just going to be the man with all those jump offs?
Oh yeah.
I mean, Teddy B is going to dump it down to him so many times. Who do they have that's going to get open? Like DJ Moore? Is that their number one receiver? Like, this isn't a high-powered offense that he's going to. He doesn't have Michael Thomas that's open like 70% of the plays.
Did you bet any draft? You bet any draft props yet, Twatty? I bet I bet
I
over
was
five
just
and a
going to
half
give mine.
wideouts. Pretty.
I'm preaching to the choir with the wide receivers. That's a given, Jet. That's easy money.
There's
I
like
would pay up to minus 180.
I got it at minus 124 for a nickel.
The wide receivers in this draft is unbelievable. I've never seen anything
Why
like
do you
it.
think they set it only at 5.5? Doesn't that? It seems like
Maybe
Because
maybe the teams
I mean, that's a
maybe the
ton.
teams are trying to like fill a position.
I don't
So
think
while there
ever
may
in
be
history there's been 6 wide receivers in the first round.
because I think there's a lot of guys that, like, I agree with your point there that there are a lot of great receivers, but I don't think there's a lot of number one round type of receivers. Like, here's who I think's a first round receiver:
I don't know, man.
Ruggs, Judy, Lamb, Mims,
Jefferson.
Jefferson.
Yeah.
And then I think you're flipping on
Higgins.
Rieger, Claypool.
So you only got to get one of those, though, right?
Yeah,
One
and
of
the
those
teams
last
at the end of the
three.
draft are going to go for him. New
You would
England's going to
hope.
want a receiver. New England's going to want a receiver, right?
I think
Yeah.
Minnesota had 2,000-yard receivers last year. I mean, there's Hamler, the
Rashad
kid
Bateman.
out of Colorado. There's so many out there.
Chenal.
I gotta take the over 5.5.
Yeah, it's too low. Should be 6.
I like the under on the tight ends that we were talking about last week too.
Yeah, there's none.
Twatty, what do you think about Jeff was saying under a half running back at plus 280 in the first round was
Plus
worth
280.
So you're
Wow.
basically saying that Jonathan Taylor doesn't get drafted in the
Or
first
Swift.
round, right? Or Swift, right?
If it was a flip price, like it was minus 110, I wouldn't bet it. But at 280, it's worth a look.
So I mean,
Oh,
they're
yeah.
not going till like 24, right? So we're basically looking at the last 8 teams as potential running back candidates.
Basically, and my whole argument was, and I wrote about this today, I felt that there's too much talent in the, like, every position so talent rich. To take a running back in the first round, I think, is a reckless decision.
Yeah.
Because you look, the only issue I have is, does Miami take a running back? Because they have 3 first-round picks.
What's their third one though?
I think it's 28 or 27.
See, yeah, and that's a potential.
That's my
That's a
one
good
issue.
one. You're right.
But I'm
That's
thinking-
the one.
But I'm thinking what
Yeah.
they do. Here's what I think, though. They take a quarterback, I think. They take a receiver.
What, they Tua, right? I think they get Tua.
Yeah, and I
Yeah,
think
so-
they have to get a lineman because they got rid of Tunsil.
Right.
I think they'll take a lineman because a lot of good linemen. Here, hey, one I had. I bet this today, guys. I love this pick. It's probably my favorite of the first round. Okuda under 4.5 plus 144. I think as long as Detroit doesn't trade out, I think they should run to the podium to take him. He's the best cornerback I've seen in 10 years in the draft.
He's that good?
I think he is. Yeah, I don't think he has any flaw personally. Like
Well, he didn't play that well though against Clemson, right?
I don't think he was notoriously bad either though. It's like saying Chase Young. Like that's the Chase Young argument. Well, he didn't play well against.
Yeah.
But again, his overall talent, he's a shutdown corner. Like
He's minus 330 to be the number 2 pick. That's absurd.
Wow.
But
Chase Young.
Okuda
Chase Young.
at 4, I think it's a perfect fit because they're actually the Lions are a decent team. They're going to get Stafford back. They lose Slay. You got to put.
They need a corners. They
you
need
gotta put
multiple corners.
They
You need a
got
shutdown
who they signed? They signed someone to replace him.
We don't have Diggs either.
That was
Diggs is-
cheaper.
I think they signed Malcolm Jenkins.
No,
Did
Saints.
they?
don't
No.
have Jenkins.
Who's the
I'll
other corner?
check right now.
Yeah,
Really?
look, they signed a different corner that's not as good, but definitely not as expensive as Slay.
Can I tell you
They
guys
signed
about
Bradbury.
my man crush? And you all agree, I'm pretty sure. Anthony Simmons. That guy's a fucking stud.
Well, he
Plays
plays.
safety.
Isaiah Simmons,
They
you mean?
signed
You mean
Desmond
Isaiah Simmons?
Trufant.
Oh yeah, Trufant. That's who's going to take
Yeah.
it.
No, it's Anthony Simmons. Is there Isaiah?
Isaiah Simmons is a
Oh, my,
Clemson linebacker.
Clemson, my bad.
Yeah.
How good is that guy?
Yeah, I mean he's
Oh my
incredibly.
God.
I mean he could play he's like the linebacker safety hybrid.
He's so good.
He'll go to Carolina. I think it's
He's going the first round, right? Or the first top 10.
top
Yeah.
8. Probably.
Because Raiders
think-
fans, we wanted him at 12, and there's no way he's going to be there.
Justin Herbert, they set him at over under 5.5, and the over is minus 230,
Where
under
are the
plus
Chargers
180.
at? He's going to the Chargers.
Yeah, I mean, who are the Chargers taking?
I think the Chargers take Herbert. Chargers are.
They have to, right?
Well, they're going to take Herbert or Tagovailoa. It's really who's that.
Yeah, I don't think Tua's getting to him. I think Miami's in love with Tua. They just don't want
Well,
to.
the thing is, Miami could, maybe they trade out.
Yeah, but they need a quarterback.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
A guy I like as well. I told Jay this. It's a prop you can bet. I bet it already. Under 8.5. Mekhi Becton. Under 8.5. He is.
You know what though, Jeff? What about the first lineman taken? He's plus 180,
No,
and
I'm.
the other guy, Worf or whatever his name
Worf.
was plus 140.
Yeah, I prefer the under 8.5, just a little bit more. That
Yeah.
way I don't have to worry. Matt, this guy, 6'7", 365,
Yeah.
5-1.
Yeah.
ran a 5'1", 40.
I know.
Who stops this guy in down blocking in the run game? Who gets around him in the passing game?
Is he better than Quentin Nelson?
I don't know about that, but he's really good. I mean, he is a mammoth. I think he's the best
I
one.
also, yeah, go ahead.
No, I'm good.
I took Jerry Jeudy as the number 1 wideout at plus 110.
I'm
He
hearing a
may
lot of
be,
people.
but I think CeeDee Lamb is the best wide receiver in the draft.
He's so skinny though, bro. He's like
so
a
tall.
rail.
Yeah, but here's the issue I think you might have, Jay. I've heard a lot of people say they like Ruggs better than Judy because Ruggs
He's also skinny as a
And what
rail.
people-
Well, Ruggs is like Tyreek Hill.
and what people do is people use the combine and say, well, he's really fast, so he's better. And he did run the fastest 40, 4.27. So I think a lot of, as Spread said, I think a lot of people are hoping to hit on that Tyreek Hill type of player.
And you don't even get 100 catches. You just
I'm
stretch
betting-
it,
Right.
big play.
I'm
Judy's
betting
more that, like,
89.
Judy is Amari Cooper to me.
Yeah, he's a
Jerry
volume guy.
Judy is Amari Cooper.
Yeah.
Well, as a Raiders fan, I would rather have Ruggs than. I wasn't that impressed with Cooper. I think Dallas is going to regret that contract.
The run on running back or the receivers is crazy though, because like from 10 to 15, you have 4 teams that could take a receiver.
Right. Raiders are almost guaranteed, right? Wouldn't you agree? I mean,
I think the Raiders, Jets, Niners.
yeah. You know what's funny? If Al Davis was still alive, I mean, you could just write Ruggs in.
Oh, of course.
You guys
Yeah.
remember when he drafted, right? Darius Hayward Bay. I mean,
I would love to see my Eagles draft up and get one of those guys. I would love
well,
to.
even if they don't, like if you get Jefferson in the 20s, I mean, that would be huge for one.
Yeah, but you know what I'm sick of, Spread? I'm sick of always getting the second or third best. Like, I
But
want
you
the
don't think
best.
he's going to be awesome?
It's not that I don't think he's going to be awesome. I just look at this team and I I got to be honest, I was really happy with their free agent stuff. I think they have a really good team coming back. I think they have finally have a shutdown corner. You finally, they have the best defensive line in the league. I mean, it's simple.
Yes.
Carson coming back. You got a great offensive line.
San Fran's D line is pretty good.
Who's?
Go look at
San Fran.
Go look at the.
No, I know,
Yeah.
but it's close.
Yeah, but I that big play receiver, that Ruggs type of receiver would just you throw him with Deshaun and Ertz and Goddard and Sanders. I mean, for the first time, I'm actually excited. You
The
know,
Eagles are going to be good. They're going to be good.
I'm pumped up about this defense because since Sheldon Brown and Brian Dawkins and Lito Shepherd, I don't remember the last time this team had a shutdown secondary player. You know.
Yeah, the Eagles are going to be really good. What do you think about Wentz? Is he a Super Bowl quarterback?
Yeah, I think he is. I think, I think Spread and I talked about this. He's just injury prone, and that's your problem. That's your issue with, like, I didn't vilify him because he got hit by Jadeveon Clowney. I just vilified him because it seems like it's always him in those situations. He always finds, you ever notice, Matt, like there's a guy in your community that always seems to get in trouble. Bad stuff just seems to follow him. He's got bad luck. And that's how I feel with.
You may know this name, Paul Spadafora.
Who's that?
He was a boxer, and he supposedly beat Floyd in sparring, right?
Okay.
That's the guy in my community.
Went around.
Okay.
But anyway,
Do you remember? I mean, that was like a legendary sparring video, like kind of
Yes.
infancy of the internet.
But what I'm
Yeah.
saying is, like, it seems like Wentz just has bad luck anywhere he goes. He'll sip on the banana peel that no one else sees. He's just he's kind of a jinx. And I worry about that because they gave him a lot of money. And you don't have Nick Foles anymore. You don't have Josh McCown anymore. And they failed on Clayton Thorson. They drafted him, and that didn't work. They have a backup quarterback problem as well because I don't know if Nate Sudfeld's the guy, and Carson is a guy that I could see them taking a quarterback in the third or fourth round. I could see them doing that, but they have a linebacker problem as well. They have no linebackers either, so we'll see. And they got some work to do still.
all right. So Jay, so what about your Giants? What's your opinion on your Giants?
You mean Jets?
Oh shit, you're a Jets fan.
Yeah, Anthony's the Giants fan.
All right, so tell me about your Jets.
They stink.
I think it all depends on how much Sam Darnold will or will not progress this year. Donnie seems to give him a pass for
think he's
last
terrible.
year.
Jay,
I think
pretty
he has shown me nothing that makes.
but the thing is, he's better than most. Like,
You
he's
know what
better
I call
than.
him? I think he's White Jameis.
Oh, I think he's so bad. I think he's so bad.
I don't know.
I think he's gonna get
I
touchdowns.
I lean towards Twatty, man. I really do.
If you put him on like
he's shown. What is he showing me?
here's what what does he have to show? He had mono half the year. He had no offensive line. He had no weapons. Put him on the Falcons. He's a good quarterback. Like,
He's better than Matt Ryan.
I hope you're right.
no, I'm not saying
really
he's
do.
no. I'm not saying he's better than Matt Ryan. I'm saying give him those kind of players. Give him a
Maybe.
Lions offense. Give him a. I'm
He
serious.
throws too many picks. Fuck.
But he's better than like Kyle Allen and like this drabby crap that some of these teams are throwing out there. You got to give the kid time. He had a lot of shit going on last year, and again, he had
Name Le'Veon Bell.
but he had a terrible line. If it doesn't matter, listen. If I give you a Lamborghini, but you don't put gas in it, it ain't gonna matter. You need an offensive line, and he did not have an offensive line. Give him an offensive line. Give him a receiver. Give him Ruggs. You're gonna give him a receiver.
Isn't that Robbie Anderson?
No, he's a good player, but he's not a top.
You know
I
what?
don't.
Yeah, he's a 2 or 3.
I mean, he's a burner.
That's all he is. He's a second or third receiver. He's
Yeah.
All right. So Jay, how many wins do the Jets have? Are they 5-11 again?
6, somewhere between 6 and 10 and 8 and 8.
Are they going to move on from Darnold or no?
I don't know. You would think that if he doesn't progress this year, this would be his third year. But like Jeff just said, how much do you count the second year, right? Because of the mono, he missed half the year. So I don't know. I think that if he doesn't show you anything this year, you have to start thinking hard about
Here's
where
the problem, though, as well, that he has. And this is Baker Mayfield's problem. This is the problem he's had. And I worry that he's always going to have this problem because there are certain guys that have this problem. They're never coached correctly. They don't ever have a leader coaching them. And Adam Gase is bad.
He's the
I don't
offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
He's the offensive coordinator. I think
Exactly. That's
he's
exactly
getting
agree.
one of those guys like Schwartz on Philly, right? Not
Yeah,
a very
he's-
good head coach. Now you put him back in the role that he should be in defensive
He's Mark
coordinator.
Trestman.
He's
That's
one
what
of
he
the
is.
best in the league.
Yeah, he's Mark Trestman.
I think
Yeah,
that
he's
he's
Mark
going to get
Trestman,
fired. He's going to go become an offensive coordinator, and he's going to dominate the league.
And that's
he's
my
a
concern
leader.
with Darnold. You don't have the right leader
Yeah.
there. You know, if
Yeah,
they
that's fair.
don't do anything this year, I think you got to go out and get a big time coach. You know, you got to get someone that can lead. Because does anyone think Adam Gase is ever? He's Kevin.
No.
Or what's his
No.
name? Ben McAdoo. That's what he is.
Yeah, I
He's a
agree.
failure.
Yeah,
He's not gonna
I-
win anything.
I agree.
So
agree.
Fred, what's your team?
Raiders. I got it.
All right, so let's break down the Raiders. What do you think?
I think they're going to probably be pretty bad again. I think they're in a tough division, right? Right, Kansas City. They're not going to fall off. So
Chargers will be
you already
better.
got 2 losses. Yeah, Chargers are going to be better. And honestly, I thought Denver looked pretty good towards the end of the year. I think Drew Lock is. I wasn't.
Can anybody explain to me why does Denver pick up Melvin Gordon when they have a rock solid back in Philip Lindsay? I don't get that.
Because
move.
it's a change of pace.
Yeah, I think it's going to work great.
I'm kind of with you, Jay. I mean, with the money, like if you're bringing somebody in that's not costing you anything, that's one thing. But they spent a fucking lot on Melvin Gordon.
It wasn't that much, was it? It was like 2 years, 13 million or something.
Oh, I stand corrected. If that's all it was, if you
I
can
don't,
get
think it was,
Melvin,
I don't think it was that much.
well, hey,
But weren't you impressed with Lindsay? I thought he was pretty solid.
well, yeah, they had 2 good backs. Well, 2 average backs
Well,
anyway.
And then there's the things that don't show up on the stats. Like, for example, Eckler was a better statistical running back than Gordon, but Gordon got those in between the tackles yards that they needed that Eckler's not able to provide. If he brings that to Denver with the style of offense they want to play, I mean, I think it's a really good pickup, actually.
I like
Plus, you're-
Eckler. I like Eckler.
Plus, with Denver, the issue in the room is, are they ever going to hit on a quarterback? You know,
So
is
what do you
Drew
think of
Lock?
Drew Lock? I think he looks
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's limited as far as what we've seen from him. I loved him in Missouri. I thought he was a really good player at that
Yeah.
school. And I think from what I saw from last year, I think there's room. But I like the Raiders are interesting because I'm not out on them. I was last year because I felt like everyone they brought in had some kind of character issue or health
Mhm.
issue or
Right.
whatever.
Love their running back though. Love their running back.
Yeah, I do too. I just wish they had, I wish they would give up on Derek Carr and instead of Mariota go out and get put Jameis Winston on that team.
Mhm.
I think they're a pretty good football team, honestly. You gave
Yeah.
yourself a big time
Yeah.
receiver in the
I don't
draft.
This thing now, wouldn't you guys agree with no OTAs? The quarterbacks coming in that already know the system are going to be at a huge advantage. And obviously they didn't know this at the time, but I think I would be more hesitant to try and bring someone in and teach him my system now. I think that's going to be a drawback for Brady, right? He's not going to have the OTAs to get the protections ready, those type of things.
Well, and
I think that's going to be an advantage is having a guy that knows the system.
And that was why one of the things that when I talked with Donnie Wrightson about that, he asked me what I thought about Brady there. And I said, I think he's got a lot of concerns. I mean, it's a whole new system. As you said, no OTAs, got a whole new coach. He's never had another coach. He's got all new players around him. It's a new atmosphere. There's all sorts of stuff. And he's 43. He's not a kid anymore, man. He's not a guy that could just come in and he can use his physical talent above everyone else. But the Raiders, I mean, they really attacked the
I love the signings. I think that if they pick Mayock, regardless, I think Mayock is going to make this team good. The Witten is whatever, but the two linebackers they signed were great. Eli Apple, I wasn't really too big on that one, but whatever.
I mean, all of a sudden they got a pass rush. They got some young kids in that back end. I mean, Abram, Mullen, Joyner.
Yeah.
I mean, I think defensively they're going to be kind of interesting. And I think if they can go out and get a receiver, at 11 or 12 or wherever they are, plus they got a new ballpark to play in.
They get 12 and 19, so they should add.
Yeah.
I think they need. I agree with Jeff. They need one good receiver. I really like Tyrell Williams. Is a deep threat. He had a good year last year, but they had no other receiver.
You need that big time guy. You need that big time.
Right. And Tyrell Williams can move your. I think Jared Cook is an absolute stud at
but they don't have him anymore. Cook's on the Saints. They have.
They got Waller.
Waller. I'm sorry, Waller.
He's doing the same thing that Cook was, but he can block better.
No, I meant Waller. Waller is a stud at tight end. And then obviously you got Jacobs, Waller, Tyrell Williams. You get a good receiver with them. I agree. I think that's that offense. And like Jeff was saying, the defense is coming up too. Waller's unbelievable.
Call me crazy. They challenge. I mean, I don't know if you're not going to beat the Chiefs, but I think they could challenge for that second place in that division.
No, I think they could too. I mean, like I said, they did upgrade the defense. Just my worries. I really think that the AFC West is a tough division. The way it is right now, I think both the AFC and the NFC West. This is the strongest it's ever been out here for football that I can remember in the last 10 years. I would think.
I mean, really, any team you look at, I mean, it just goes to show you how good the NFL is as far as the level of player and team. I mean, every team has talent, so much talent.
Yeah.
No doubt. Yeah, no doubt. So who do you guys have as the best team in the NFL?
Kansas City, right?
Top to bottom, San Fran.
I said the Niners as well.
Wow.
But, that Kansas City offense is so retardedly good that does it make up for the difference, because they have a worse defense than San Fran? Maybe.
But San Fran is reliant, and again, this is reliant on if they take a receiver. If they add a receiver, I think they'll be the best team in the league.
You think, big man? You think they need a receiver?
Yes,
they lost Sanders, Emmanuel Sanders.
They have a bunch of. They have a bunch
of
Robbie
Godwin, and they still have Samuel.
But they're all Robbie Andersons. You need a big time player. You need.
I do like Debo more than Robbie.
No, I like him too. I mean, I loved him at South Carolina. He was a terrific player. He's a great punter.
You're right. You get a real number one. If you can get it in the late first round, I mean, that brings a whole nother dynamic.
The running game is set. The running game is.
And you have arguably the best tight end in the league. I mean,
100%.
Your defense is, as you said,
the only thing is, when it comes down to it, Kansas City's got Mahomes, and I think he makes up for so many deficiencies.
But they got a bad defense too, so it's.
Did they lose?
Put up the points to keep up.
Yeah.
Didn't they have a free agent on their line who was their best?
Oh,
did he sign?
Chris Jones? No, they have Chris Jones still.
What?
Chris Jones, their big loss will probably be Watkins. Indeed, Money can jump in and help me out, right?
No,
Watkins they're probably not coming back.
Their best defensive lineman, I guess, was a free agent. Did they sign him?
They franchised him. Chris Jones.
Oh, okay.
Chris Jones, yeah.
Chris Jones, yeah.
Yeah, they really didn't do anything in free agency. I mean, they've been very quiet. I mean, they've done nothing. They have the same team that they did last year. So and again, and they won the Super Bowl. So I mean, that's pretty. Other than I think they moved up from Watkins, but outside of that,
Watkins just stopped playing.
He's replaceable, no doubt.
Yeah, he was good though. He ran his routes.
What do you think, Matt? Do you think that the Patriots just fall off a cliff?
Well, no, because their defense. I mean, their defense.
Well, their defense is top notch, right? But are they going to run Jarrett Stidham out there?
Well, no, we don't know yet. We don't know yet. But you got to figure they're going to be, as a worst case, an 8-8 or a 9-7 team just because of their defense. In Belichick. So you got
Are
the
they
best
still your
coach
pick
of all-
in the AFC East?
I don't know. You got to figure Josh Allen's going to be better, right? You got to figure their stud running back is going to be their stud running back is going to be better. Their defense, Singletary, their defense is still going to be good. They were, top 5 last year. So if I had to guess, I would say that it's a coin toss between the Patriots and the Bills. In my opinion.
What a great pickup for them to go out and get Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, and you got Stephon Diggs. I mean, he's not going to love life when it's fucking 8 degrees and 80-mile-an-hour winds in Buffalo, and he's not catching any passes. He's going to bitch about it, but, he's going to have to live with it.
Or Josh Allen overthrows him by 10 yards on a 70-yard route.
Exactly. But Josh Allen, in his defense, I used to make fun of that guy because he was terrible, but, he's gotten better each year.
No,
He's pretty good.
listen. That final 5 minutes of the game was embarrassing.
It was terrible.
Seriously, for the first time in a long, and I've said this openly occasionally, for the first time in a long time, I actually felt like he was throwing the game. Like he was.
It was so bad.
He was.
But he was just lost, right? I mean,
he had no idea what he was doing.
What's he ever played in that's near that type of pressure, that type of, a lot of these guys, right? They play national championship games or they played their big rivalry game. I mean, what's the biggest game in Wyoming? I don't even know who their rival is.
They don't have one.
Right? I mean, so,
You're right, what about the time where he pitched the ball? He had the first down and he pitched the ball back.
I'll tell you though, they're a Super Bowl. Like they're a team that I like kind of what would it be? My dark horse. I like the Bills.
I pinned them for regression, and my main reason is they were pretty healthy last year. Not that I think that the team is bad, but they were so healthy last year. I think it's hard to stay healthy like that 2 years in a row.
I mean, I think they got better defensively. I mean, Mario Addison's really good, and AJ
White's really the best corner in the league.
I mean, they have the best secondary in the league. I mean, Josh Norman, Boyer, Hyde, White. I mean, you add Klein at linebacker, you add Stephon Diggs. I mean, that's what a coveted, player he. And I mean, Stephon Diggs is so perfect for them.
He is,
because they add Cole Beasley last year. I thought he was such a great kind of out route player for Allen. He really. I remember Josh Allen had a player at Wyoming, Tanner Gentry. He was like a player.
I know you're talking about. Yeah,
he was a poor man Cole Beasley, and you throw in the fact that you got some nice players like a John Brown type, and you have a pretty solid group of tight ends that can block and do things. You mentioned Singletary. I think if they can really kind of strengthen in the draft a little bit,
but can Josh Allen take you to the Super Bowl? Come on.
That's the thing. That's
can he take you to the AFC Championship? I mean, he just makes too many bonehead. He's so athletic. He's one of the most athletic people on the field at all times, much less quarterbacks. But sometimes you're like, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's got to take we talked about Darnold a little bit ago. He's got to take the next step because there's really no excuse now for Josh Allen. You have, a high-level receiver. You're not throwing to John Brown anymore. You're throwing to Stephon Diggs, who's right up there. You got a bang-out defense. You got a great home field advantage. You got a coach that's high-level. You've got to find a way to elevate and take the next step. And, is he going to be Derek Carr and Jared Goff, or is he going to be is he going to take the next step into that top 12 quarterback?
My worry for him is, other than Warren Moon, like which quarterbacks come into the league that is inaccurate and then becomes accurate. So it just seems like that's a huge step for him to take.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've talked about Kawhi Leonard in the past. I remember when Kawhi Leonard came into the NBA, he was a good player. I mean, he wasn't a great player like he is now, but Kawhi basically stayed in the gym and he became a superstar, and he put time in. And does Josh Allen have that work ethic? I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. So what would you guys right now, let's say it's minus 110, minus 110, who do you have winning? The Pats or the Bills, the division?
I've said it again. I mean, I said this the other night, and these guys thought I was crazy. Don't sleep on Miami. I'm serious.
But you don't have them winning the division, though,
I don't
right?
think it's that crazy. If they get
No, I'm saying minus 110.
if they get Tua, I think Tua is the best quarterback in the draft. Brass tacks, I think he's the most talented.
I agree.
quarterback.
Yeah.
If they can add him, I really like what they did. I don't think it's out of the question, but no, I would say the Bills for sure.
So
I'm
you
not
would,
a-
Yeah, I would take the Pats.
I'm
So
not
we're
in on
opposite there.
I'm not a Patriot guy. I've said that before. I'm not in on them.
so spread, you would still take the Pats, though.
Yeah,
Like even money.
I mean, I'd hate to do it because I'm doing it with the assumption that they're going to get another quarterback. That I'm going to get Dalton in there. I'm going to get Cam Newton in there.
Spread. But look at both games last year. They played the Patriots. They played them tough
Yeah.
in both games.
Right.
With Brady.
Right, with Brady and with, Brady versus Stidham, even at Brady's elevated age and talent level.
He's
'cause
way
let's
better.
be honest, Brady's still
Stidham's not top 35 quarterback in
that's
the
the
league.
thing. So
right?
that's a huge drop off to go from Brady to Stidham. And let's say they even go to Dalton. I mean, is
I
Dalton
think Dalton can run the offense, though.
we can run listen, anybody can run
He's
the
only
offense.
going to need to score 17.
Eh,
And here's the thing. If they get two big injuries, right? Just say two big injuries on each team, right? Who do you think is going to be able to overcome those injuries better?
I'm not sure,
Belichick
though,
or
that-
McDermott?
But remember, this is important. You lose Kyle Van Noy. I mean, Kyle Van Noy was a pretty big time player to that team last year.
Yeah.
And you talk about it. You talked about injuries with another team. I mean, did they have any injuries defensively last year? I don't seem to remember anyone getting injured.
No, I mean, I think Collins missed a couple games and Patrick Chung missed some time with a concussion. But no, I mean, you're right. But they overcome. I mean, I think that they're going to have the best, if you're top 22 of your starters, like they're going to have the best 23 through 40 guys.
I think they're going to have a really big pass rush issue. I mean, who rushes? I mean, who rushes the passer on this team? I mean, you have no one here. I mean, Lawrence Guy? I mean, give me a break.
I mean, these are all things they're going to address in the draft, though, right?
Yeah.
They're probably going to get my guess is that first 3 rounds they're going to go not in any particular order. They're going to go wide receiver, pass rusher, offensive lineman. Those are the 3 big issues.
Yeah, you're right. Those are definitely needs.
Yeah, the edge rusher could be important. Getting that big time guy in there that could get to the quarterback.
So I guess I haven't talked about my Steelers. That'll be, I guess, one of the last teams. But I mean, Ben coming back. I wonder if they competed with the Ravens last year. Two close games with the Ravens last year. I still don't think they're good enough to beat them, but they may be a playoff team. They may be like a 9-7 team. I'm hoping to sneak in like a wild card or something. What do you guys think about the Steelers this year?
Yeah, I thought the problem that they had last year was you said it. I mean, or you mentioned Ben. I mean, their quarterback situation sucked, and I felt like they really showed their hand to the rest of the league because let's be honest, Ben doesn't have much time left. Okay,
I don't think he's going to make it back.
right, and we know Mason Rudolph. We know we've seen what he is. I mean, we know he's not a necessarily a starter in this league. Devlin Hodges, neither is he. I know they won't do it. I would go out and get one of these quarterbacks off the open market. I don't think Ben is a guy you can trust at this point anymore. And
I completely agree.
they really haven't shown none of these. They've showed their hand. That was the issue with competing last year and challenging for a playoff spot. While it was great, I think they're the best defense in the league. The problem is you showed your hand and you have nowhere to go now because Ben is a guy, like I said, maybe a year, maybe 2. And the other guys, none of them are any good either. So
Here's what's interesting about the
I would go
Steelers.
get
A little
Jameis Winston
stat.
if I were them. That's what I would do. But
I agree.
I'm not.
A little stat that's crazy is that the Steelers actually last year they started on their defense. Everyone, all 11 players are first round picks. I mean,
Yeah,
their deep, which is amazing. They had 11 first round picks on their defense. So their defense is really fucking good. Minka Fitzpatrick came over and completely changed the defense.
From top to bottom, and I mean this, there's no defense on the level there. None. Like
Unbelievable.
adding Wormley, adding, even some of the guys they draft. I mean, Devin Bush. I mean,
Devin Bush.
I mean, talk about a team that can draft. I mean, just incredible. Bud Dupree. Right. I mean, just everything they do, and Baltimore does a great job in free agency as well. But I really, we also have to remember last year. I mean, James Conner was injured a lot. I mean, you were basically running out the likes of
Juju was injured.
Yeah, Benny Snell and those kind of guys. Like I said, if you add Jameis Winston to this team, they're a factor. I just don't.
Jameis won't beat Ben out, but
he should move on already. He's too old. He's not good enough anymore.
Jameis threw 40 picks last year or whatever, 30 picks.
Right, but he also threw how many touchdowns?
I think
yards?
Ben is still a better quarterback than Jameis, but
Fred, listen.
It's a year or two. It may not be.
If you, and I mean this, if you put that defense the Steelers have with Tampa Bay and you interchange defenses, no one would beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. No one would.
Yeah,
nobody would.
That's a good point. I still think Ben is a better quarterback than Jameis at this point, but in a year or two, maybe not. But I think next year,
what does he have left, though? I mean, seriously.
Yeah, no, it's a year. It's a year.
But what are you waiting on, man? What are you waiting on? You have a good defense now. Do something. You can't. I know you want to be loyal to the guy, and I get that, but. How long
you don't think so if you had to rank Ben 1 through 30, let's say, where would you rank him?
17, 15.
Okay. All right. Well, here's
what would you say? I would put Brady. I think Brady's like a 13, 14 at this point. I would put him slightly better than Ben at this point.
I don't think.
Yeah, I would have Ben at 14, 15, probably
average. He's better than the Kyle Allens and the Gardner Minshew's, but he's not Jackson and Wentz.
Okay, so spread. What would you say?
I mean, old Ben, I think is top 10. I just don't think he's going to
right now.
Injury.
Sure.
25, 26, because I don't think.
Wow.
I mean, when's he even going to get back on the field?
Yeah, that's the thing.
He's going to be ready for the first game.
I mean, they say that, but that elbow injury is tough to come back from.
No,
I mean, he literally seems like he's like one of these motocross guys. He breaks every bone in his body, it seems like. I mean, how many injuries has this guy had in his career? It's amazing.
Well, I mean, the guy, he doesn't throw the ball away either.
He's a tough guy. I remember when Allen Iverson was here. He got seemingly injured every different way, and he just kept playing. He kept being a warrior. But I love everything about the Steelers outside of the quarterback, and that's what's a shame because Mike Tomlin gets a bad rap. I think Mike Tomlin's a really good coach. I just think Pittsburgh, and I like Pittsburgh.
I think even if Dalton goes in there, they win that division. I think they can give Baltimore problems.
Yeah, because their defense is so.
Well, they just picked up Eric Ebron too. It's tight end.
He's done. He's done.
But you don't think he's better than average? Is he better than Vance McDonald?
The amount of problems he causes in the locker room and the amount of drops he has, I don't.
But it was Vance McDonald. It was our starting tight end.
I mean, I think he's not Heath Miller. I mean, but he's good enough, I guess. Here's the issue though. For as good as they've done drafting defensive players, their quarterback scouting has been just horrible. I mean, really bad. Bad. To the point of
Joshua Dobbs and Mason Rudolph.
What is that? Seriously. It's just bad. It's bad luck. It's whatever. It's amazing though that in 4 or 5 years and taking quarterbacks every time you've failed. And you don't have a capable replacement. It's like the Saints. They don't have a capable replacement for Drew Brees, and they will not address it ever. They have no interest in addressing it. I don't know why. I guess they think he's timeless and never going to go away. But the truth of the matter is he is. And some of these teams have not – and the Cowboys, I remember they never did it either. And then they finally go out and get Dak Prescott. Tony Romo's injured every year, and they're just, Kellen Moore and Kyle Orton and all this crap. Some of these teams just don't understand, like, hey, we're gonna not have this guy eventually. The Steelers, just for whatever reason, will not. They don't make the right decisions. They're like the Broncos.
So what do you think? Do you think they're like 9-7 spread?
Yeah, I think they're
Yeah,
500.
they're going to get 2 wins against the Browns. I'm not big on the Browns.
Bengals.
Yeah, and then you got the Bengals, so you're up pretty. That's probably 3 to 4 wins right there. So you just get 5 more. They do real well in those interconference primetime games. I mean, yeah, I think they get to 8 or 9. Tomlin's never had a losing season.
I wish Rooney and whoever the managing partners there are, I wish they would grow a set and get rid of Ben. Sorry. I mean, I put him as Eli Manning him. That's what he is. He's not as good as he was. And you have a great defense. You have some good players on that team. You held back by Phillip Rivers, same way in LA. They've had some great teams out there, but they hung on to Phillip Rivers, and he never fucking won anything. I'm not saying Ben hasn't, but
I'm gonna disagree, and I'm gonna say I'm gonna give him one more. Give him one more year.
You're losing valuable good years from some of these guys.
I know he's old, and but he's
Listen, it's a business. It's a business, Matt. And, I remember the Colts did this. The Colts would not fire Chuck Pagano because he had cancer 2 years before, and they didn't want to fire him. It's a business. You got to do what you got to do. You got to, they're not billionaires because they're compassionate people. They got to take care of business. And, Ben is a great player. He's done a lot for that team in City, but, sometimes some of these guys need, like Brady. He's a perfect example. You got to recognize when it's time to go, and some of these guys don't seem to recognize that.
I'm saying one more year. I mean, I'm with you on
Deep
what
down,
you're saying.
do you really think he should be there? Do you want him there? Like if you were the CEO and the owner and the GM, and you had the opportunity to go out and get a guy that could come in and do good things for you, are you going to keep Ben around because it's the nice thing to do?
Well, no. I have no loyalty. So if I had a guy, but your guy, you're telling me is Winston, and I can't. I fucking hate
got
Winston.
a question for you guys. Then let's say you are.
That's my only thing.
And you can get Cam and Jameis for the same amount of money.
Well, I'm taking Cam. I'm taking Cam, no doubt. I would almost take Dalton before Winston, just because Winston is so infuriating. It's not that he doesn't have the talent.
Again,
so infuriating.
if you put the Steelers defense with Winston and
I hear you.
they'd never lose.
Yeah, and Tomlin's not going to let him throw 4 picks in one game. By the second one, his ass is going to be on the bench, riding the pine until he figures it out. I mean, a lot of this does have to do with the coaching, where there's like, oh, what are we going to do? Like,
and that's the thing. That's a good point there
it.
as well. Like, look at Tampa. Look at his coaches.
Yeah.
Dirk Cutter.
Terrible.
Yeah, and Bruce Arians. I mean, I just don't think he relates real well to
I don't think he liked him.
Listen, Mike Tomlin would be a perfect coach for the kid.
He would.
No, good point.
It's like a father figure. He'd be perfect.
Yeah.
Like, I wish – I'll be honest. I wish he would go get Winston because I'd bet him to win the Super Bowl. I really love the kid. I think I know he has the turnover problems. I get that. But some of these kids just aren't coached correctly. Look at it, Florida State. That's a prime example. Like Jimbo Fisher was a great coach, but he ran such a lackadaisical program. He let them do whatever he wanted. He was, coddled there. He could do whatever. Mike Tomlin's not going to put up with any shit. And as Spread said, first couple interceptions, sit the fuck down. If you're not going to do it, I get somebody else that will. And then you cut it loose. It is what it is. But Schuster and all those guys, it'd be so interesting.
I mean, Connor's still a stud. Schuster's a great number 2, but they do need a number 1, no doubt. They need a number one.
Draft to get one.
It's too bad the Antonio Brown stuff just went totally haywire.
That should tell you how good AB was because their offense, although they got injury at quarterback, but their offense went from one of the best to one of the worst.
Where do they
Let me tell
fit?
you how good Tomlin is, because this guy was putting up 1,000-yard seasons, and he didn't just become a nut the year he left. I mean, he's been a nut for his whole life, and Tomlin was able to keep it under control and get a Hall of Fame career out of the guy. I think
That's so funny you say that because you had Le'Veon Bell and you had Antonio Brown in that locker room,
Yeah.
and Tomlin kept them under control.
Yeah.
And when they left, look what happened. I mean, AB is a fucking train wreck, but somehow Tomlin kept him under control for 8 years.
Yeah, until the very end.
Right. Tomlin's people
That's-
in Pittsburgh shit on Tomlin, and I keep saying Tomlin's never had a losing record. I mean, what are we talking now? 10 years.
Yeah.
He's a good coach. Yes, he's a player.
Top
He's a great coach. He's a great coach.
He's a top 5 player. He's a top 5 coach in the
is.
league.
I agree. Yeah.
But people in Pittsburgh, and it's like any city, I guess.
Yeah.
That if the head coach isn't winning Super Bowls, you shit on him. But he's a good fucking coach.
I agree.
I mean, for them though, it just sucks. I mean, they don't have a pick till 49. I mean, that's
I
rough.
know. Yeah.
I'll
Because
tell you, you know what?
they traded it for Minka, which I don't give a fuck. Minka came over last year and was an absolute baller. So, but you're right. We don't pick till the
At
second round.
49, they'll probably still get a receiver. I was saying
I'll
if
tell
I
you
was
what-
the Raiders, I would just steal the Steelers scouting for wide receiver and pick whoever they're going to take in the third round.
You know who I would take at 49 if I were them? And if he's there, I would gift wrap him for sure. Jalen Hurts.
It's
Ooh.
funny. Everyone in Pittsburgh,
I like
they're saying that. Everyone's saying that. But I'm going with spread. I'm going to take one of these stud receivers that is still available at 49. But it's so funny you say that, Jeff, because that's where everyone in Pittsburgh is thinking they're going to go is Jalen Hurts.
That's what I would do. I mean, and that would obviously make me real happy as well. You know, whether it's I like Hurts a lot. I think he's a gamer, man. He's a good kid too. I mean, he could have really been a prick when Alabama said, "Look, I'm done," and he just said, "You know what? All right, I'll go somewhere else." And he was really good. So yeah, you got to get an heir apparent there because they failed with Rudolph. They failed with and I don't think Hodges they ever expected him to be anything either. Then the Paxton. What did they bring in? Paxton Lynch. What's that all about?
Yeah, he never made. Yeah, he never played.
I mean, they just have a ton of quarterbacks that have just failed. It's weird. I mean, outside of
Landry
Ben,
Jones, Joshua Dobbs.
just awful. How are they so bad at talent acquisitions with that?
Yeah, Kevin Colbert, who's a GM, is really fucking good at drafting. But you're right, the quarterbacks he's missed.
Well, another
Big
problem
time.
I have with them too is Fichtner. I can't stand. He is brutal. I mean, he will not take the training wheels off these guys. I mean, he reminds me of Jim Harbaugh. It's like, let's play this fucking 80s offense.
Yeah.
That's so boring and slow, and I'm not going to let my quarterback make plays. It's really ugly to watch.
So I'm with it. All right, guys, I'm out of here.
Where
I
the
don't
fuck
know
is
where-
Jay?
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know
he's
where he
out
went, but
too.
I'm here, bro.
Okay.
I was just writing something down. All right, we'll call it a night.
All right. Hey, good talking to you, man. That was fun. I enjoyed that.
Yeah. Thanks for jumping on, Toddy. That was a lot of fun.
oh no, I'll be back all the time now that Maxwell Smart's not going to be on here. I'll be on all
What's
the
your
time.
issue with him?
We'll talk off air.
All right, Twatty, I love you, bro. Thanks.
Hey,
for coming on.
stay on this thing after he.
Yeah. Keep me on another 10 minutes.
All right, we'll see you guys. We'll be back at some point later in the week. Until then, we're out.
What's your issue with that piece of